Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Food, Wine, and Whiskey in Your Own Backyard. I'm Rob, your host, and today I have back joining the show, Joby and Dave. How you guys doing?
Doing well, Rob. How are you?
It's like deja vu. It's just a week
All
ago.
over again.
Yeah.
Back to back. It's
Yeah.
pretty good.
I'm doing good, guys. I'm doing good. This is going to be a fun show. It's all about bourbon again, so that always makes it fun.
Absolutely.
Are we going to dabble in any wine with Joby? Or are we just going to kind of keep
That
it
might
on?
have to be a noob show for wine people.
What is your experience with wine, Joby? Any?
Yeah, a little bit. It's mostly, had taken some time with clients and, you have a nice dinner over certain, you win a project or something. But usually I just defer to who's the wine guy here at the table and, learned a little bit about, what I liked as far as between a Cab and a Merlot, mostly reds. I haven't really drank wine, like white wines or anything like that. Wouldn't have a clue.
Okay. But
Great
you like wine.
experience.
You're intrigued enough to explore a little bit, or is it something that you go, yeah, I'll drink it if it's in front of me?
I don't know. A Cab, certain different cabs. Actually, Dave's kind of recommended some to me, and an old fishing guy that I used to fish. I've still fished with a lot in Rockport. He was a big wine guy, and he's took me. He would say, try a little bit of this one, and it fit your palate pretty good. But when I see some lighter colors, I don't know why I think of like that box wine, and
Not always the case. Dave will tell you. It's,
Yep. There are some
Typically the
very
grape.
good rosés out there.
yeah, rosés or a Pinot or
Yep.
something like that is a thinner skinned grape.
yeah, that seems to be towards what my wife gravitates to. So I just kind of, I don't know. My man card comes out sometimes. I don't know.
We're going to have to do a show sometime and get him to taste through some wine.
Absolutely.
But we'll stick with bourbon today. This is kind of going to be a two-part show, huh? We're going to kind of go north of the border into our neighbors up in Canada and try something that...
Yep.
What do we call this, Dave?
This looks like the American Blanton's, except Canadian style.
Yeah, this is
Caribou Crossing.
Rock Hill Farm bottle.
Yeah, it does.
Yep.
It kind of that cross between Rock Hill Farms bottle and then it has the big moose instead of the horse from the Kentucky Derby on top. So I think you're right. Everybody calls it the Canadian Blanton.
That's caribou.
Oh yeah, I said moose. Caribou.
Then it would be Moose Crossing.
Have you had that version?
I have not.
Now they do have a different top. I was like, maybe
With the Canadian maple leaf. Yep.
I've never seen that.
I've never seen it either, but you said that last time we were doing a
Yeah,
show. You
it's-
mentioned
it's-
that,
it's-
and that's kind of how we got to this bottle that we talked about. We need to try this.
I don't know how they decide, but the caribou looks pretty cool.
Have you guys had this before? I thought your bottle would be open, Joby, but it's not open.
This is the second bottle.
Okay.
The first bottle is gone, so I saved the second bottle for, something fun.
Nice.
And
So we're going to get to try that, talk about it a little bit, see what we think. We've all had Blanton's, so we'll, besides the bottle, we'll compare the juice inside, see what we think about that.
So- sounds good.
And then we're going to go through and do kind of a little show on what we think are some value bourbons, some shelf heroes, if you will. Things that, and I think a lot of people make the mistake when they want to get into bourbon. I did, and I think a lot of my friends have who, after I've gotten into bourbon, want to get into bourbon. They join these groups, and I've said this before, and they start seeing bottles that are really good bottles, that are tough to find, and that are sometimes not that hard to find, but more expensive.
Yep.
And they think that's where they need to start to get good bourbon, and it's really not. So,
Yeah,
I kind of went backwards.
Yep. And I would think that there's also kind of a stigma on a few of these that we're going to have today that were people's staples when they were in college because they were the cheapest. But
So they were more effect than taste back
Correct.
then. Yeah.
Maybe these should be called bottom shelf heroes.
Bottom shelf or shelf heroes, or because not all of them are necessarily on the
That's true.
bottom shelf.
Nope.
But
But I mean, nowadays everybody's looking for the all the go-tos, the Eagle Rares and such, and
yeah, that's
kind
my
of
point.
overlook these.
Yeah, that's my point. I think a lot of people getting into bourbon start there because of the groups and things. So we thought we'd do this show today and go through 6 of these that we think are really good bourbons at a great value. I mean, some are just a fantastic value, but all of them are really good value. So we'll do that. But first, we're going to pop that Caribou
all
and
right.
give that a shot.
Yes, absolutely.
I'll give the pleasure to the man that brought the bottle.
Yeah, let him.
And it gives you a nice little pull tab.
Yep,
Looks just like Blanton's.
Just like Blanton's,
Yeah.
except blue wax.
It's got the wax and everything. I mean, I wonder if there's any marketing. Did they cross a line? Is there any?
Well,
Yeah, it's very interesting the way they did the combination of the topper like Blanton's and the Rock Hill Farms bottle.
yeah, with the etching and everything, it's kind of unique.
I mean, there's no doubt. I wouldn't think. I mean, even look at the top of the cork and the way the cork's made. It's exactly like
Yeah.
the Blanton's cork.
Tell you one thing, this cork is probably the heaviest one I've ever really kind of hurt somebody with that thing.
Wonder if Buffalo Trace has any interest. I don't even know. Any interest
No
in
idea.
that.
No idea.
Because it just seems too similar for them to not have some issue with that. Anybody know the mash bill on this? No, we can't call it bourbon because it's not
Yeah,
in the
because
States.
it's Canadian whiskey.
Considered Canada, correct? Canadian.
Yeah, Canadian. But I mean, it
Which
can
is
still
next
be.
to rye, right?
Say again?
I think the rye is in it is a certain percentage.
Yeah, well, I'm going to look it up and see if we can figure out what this is.
It says 40. It's 40% alcohol volume.
So 80 proof, so it's lower than
A lot
American
lower.
Blanton's.
Yeah, that's a lot lower. That's
Now,
surprising.
I will warn you, after I tried this bottle, and I think the last episode I said I kind of start out with mixers, like Crown and Makers and things like that. I've told, there's some guys I know that are, they love all the different Crown vanillas and all that. And I said, once you try this, you're going to take your Crown bottles and chunk them. That's just my opinion.
And what did they think?
That's why that first bottle got disappeared.
Got hammered.
So you like this quite a bit. 80 proof always throws me off. I'm just wondering, when you get it down to that proof, how much flavor, how much structure you lose in the bourbon.
So that the first time I smelled this was not like a fruit or anything else that I typically smelled on other bourbons. I was wondering if you guys get the same smell initially. It's it kind of threw me off at first.
I mean, to me, it smells like a bourbon.
I would agree.
See, I always got like I think I don't know, like a leather at first for me. It was a little leathery.
Now that you say that, I can pull that out a little bit.
I mean, it smells a lot like a bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking it up here, and it is it doesn't say what the percentage is, but it's corn and rye and malted barley. So a typical bourbon mash bill.
And it is a single barrel. So.
Oh, it is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, and I have seen posted sometimes that they do barrel pick versions of the Caribou
I've seen that
Crossing.
once in a while.
Distiller
but not that
Select
common.
or something like
Okay.
So
Is it?
did you notice that, I don't know for you, but when I first tasted it, compared to like the higher proofs, it's a short, once you drink it, it's kind of like the taste kind of goes short.
Dissipates really quick.
Mhm. And I think it's because of the proof.
It's got a nice nose.
It does.
It is, I don't know, the first time, like I said, it just was like smelled like leather to me. Which I like to smell leather, like a leather baseball glove and those brand new ones. You
Yep.
get that smell. I just always like that.
Yep, I think it, a lot of times you talk about it drinks lower than its proof. This one, to me, it's got a little tingle on the tongue, surprisingly, since it's only 80 proof.
I still think it's a little thin on the
Oh,
palate.
yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. It's to me, the best part about this is the nose.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's got a really good nose. The finish isn't bad. I mean,
No,
takes it a little delay there to hit you kind of in the chest where it starts to warm up a little bit.
But again, another hard to find one of these.
Oh, it is. It's a
one
fun
of these
bottle
hard
to
find
have.
Ones, and then when
Yeah.
you try it, you're like, okay. But if you take this, and to me, if you get a bottle, put it next to a Crown or a Makers and just taste them. And
Here's what I'm going to say to that. I've never drank Crown straight. When I drink Crown, it was always a mixer. Pendleton's good. I do like Pendleton. And you're right about Pendleton because, I have a bottle of theirs that's like $120. and it's still only 80 proof. Does anybody know what Crown is? Is it 80 proof? Is everything out of Canada 80 proof?
I couldn't tell you for sure, but I think Crown is in that 80 range. It's under 90.
Yeah. So I don't know quite why that is. Is it because it's so cold up there they don't get the heat to get the...
I think it's to be classified as a Canadian. I don't know. It's got to be the lower proof. I don't know, because beer up there is... I know I used to go to Canada a lot in Calgary, and the beer that I drank up there compared to down here was a lot more alcohol.
Have you guys ever had the other Canadian whiskey, which I thought was pretty good, called 40...
Lot 40. I was just about to say Lot 40.
Is that what... I thought it was 40 with the 40 was the first name. That was something I was thinking.
Pretty sure it's Lot 40. Because
You're probably
I think
right.
they've got a barrel strength.
I got that as a gift one time, and I was like, well, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
It was the whiskey from, I didn't want to say bourbon, the whiskey from Canada that I've had that I think I've liked the most.
Yeah. I've never had any of their expressions because I know they've got a rye and a barrel strength.
Yeah, I think to be a...
40 Creek.
Oh, 40 Creek.
40 Creek.
Okay.
40 Creek, yeah.
Have you had that?
Yes, I have. That was an old mixer as well.
Yeah, I got it as a gift
Yeah,
one time. One of their
haven't
higher
had
end. Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, I think it was a $65 bottle, something like that. But it was pretty solid. That was the only one I've ever.
Now there used to just be 40 Creek. I notice now there's all these different blends of 40 Creek that they're, I guess, trying to make something different, attract more buyers. But
Yeah. And is it readily available down here?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Okay.
You can find it. I just never knew about it. It doesn't have, I guess, the marketing down here that Crown does, obviously, or
Right.
I guess just people chasing something like Caribou Crossing. You don't hear too much about 40 Creek, but it's pretty solid. At least the bottle I had was pretty solid. Oops.
I think if I'm not mistaken, you have to have a smaller percentage of rye for the Canadian whiskey. I don't know. There's like a rule on it.
There is.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know of a name for Canadian whiskey. When you think about bourbon in America, you think about Scotch in Scotland, cognac in France, whatever. Canada, I don't think has any kind of a
Distinction other than whiskey.
Yeah, it's just a whiskey. I mean, they can use the same mash bill that we use down here, but I don't think they have any type of processing, grading, and you got to have a certain procedure of 4 years in a barrel or new barrels or whatever like we do for bourbon. So at least I haven't heard that if they do. But this is solid. This isn't bad.
It is. Good starter.
And in case we didn't mention it, it is a Buffalo Trace product.
So it is. That's what I said. It has to be related. That's why I asked you earlier, Dave. Is there some relation? Are they invested? Because
The Caribou Crossing is a Buffalo Trace product. Very
maybe
interesting.
you did not know.
I thought there had to be something because there's too much
copyright
similar.
infringement there.
Yeah. So I said, well, they've got to be invested in that somewhere up there. So it is. Good job, Joby.
Cool.
Sometimes you swing and you connect.
So you knew that when I was asking the question
Yes, I
earlier,
did.
and you just let me look silly.
Yeah. He just let you hang there for a
Man.
little while.
You got to add a little suspense to the show, right?
That's right. So, is there anything else that comes out of Canada that's also a Buffalo Trace product that you know of? I can't imagine this is the only thing they're making up there. Maybe it
There's a
is.
hidden one, but it's not a buff. I mean, it's not a Canadian. That's that Jeffers Creek.
Oh, that's right.
No, a lot of people don't talk about it. It's a lower proof. It's not. It's kind of like, I guess I put it right up there with the Ancient Age, but
Yeah, but I think that one's like the John J. Bowman line, that it was distilled, the juice was distilled by Buffalo Trace, but then finished in barrels.
Oh, okay.
there's a story
Like
in it.
the
It's
Bowman
got
brothers and John J. Bowman, that's in Virginia.
The small Weller bottle of it as well.
You poured us, Dave, a pretty good pour, pretty healthy pour here. For
Yeah,
for
I'm
a little
not
warm-up.
used to your fat bottom Glencairn there, so judging, but mine's gone.
Oh,
So
yeah, you have the unique one there.
I do like a fat bottle. See, you missed that, don't you? You missed that, Joey. It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, I poured you pretty heavy there, Rob.
Yeah, you did. Do we need to get a dump? A little cup, you think? Or as we go along, might need to.
Yep.
Let's do that real quick. I'm going to grab a dump cup.
No.
Now we can dump what we don't want to when you pour so heavy, Dave.
Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't be allowed to pour.
Nah, I'd rather give me too much than not enough. I do like this, though.
I agree, because I've heard people bash it, and I think just for one, because it's Canadian, and two, 80 proof. But like you said, the nose is I would say is very good. A little thin on the palate, not much finish, but for what it is, it tastes good.
If you have somebody at your house that not a big bourbon drinker but wants to try some, this is it's hard to find.
Yeah, it's
But
not like you just
it's
can
a
go out
little
and use it.
easier, you know.
And that was going to be my point. It's a fun bottle to have.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, it's one that it's a conversation piece when people come over. It's not like the greatest brown water you're ever going to have, but it's a fun bottle to have. If I saw one, I'd definitely buy it.
Same.
I know a guy. He's got a pretty large bar, and big Crown guy. And I was at his house one day. We were playing pool, and I was kind of looking on his shelves, and he had one of these, except it had the maple leaf on it, unopened. And I asked him if he had ever tried that. He said, no, I don't know. Someone gave it to me. I just like the bottle. I said, well, you might want to try that. You might throw your Crown away. And he looked at me funny and never. But it was actually cool. He said he liked the bottle. So,
Yeah, which I think is a big reason, you know, why a lot of people chase it, obviously. What would be cool is if they did, you know, now we know it's a Buffalo Trace product, if they did something, and I guess Blanton's want to have their own little thing with the horses, but it'd be kind of cool to see some different type of caribou on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe mix in a moose and call it moose crossing.
You can have an elk crossing. I already have elk though.
Yeah. Old elk.
What's
Old elk.
Old elk. It's got
What's
a
old
pretty
elk?
Cool,
Out of Colorado.
pretty cool top. You pour it through the elk's mouth.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Reminds me of an aerator for a wine bottle or something. So is it something that comes with the bottle that you open it and then you put it in?
Yes.
Well, they've got a couple different toppers, kind of like Blanton's, but the one that Joby got in Nashville, I guess,
Yeah.
is where you got it. It actually it's a pourer, so it pours out of the elk's mouth. But
That's pretty cool.
But some of the other ones are just smaller toppers, like on this one, on the Caribou Crossing and the Blanton's.
Little sad story though. When I was bringing it back, I had it in my bag. My bag got searched, of course, and it had a nice box with it, and it was destroyed. That
Oh,
was kind of a
really?
sad story, but the elk did survive.
And the juice survived.
Yes.
Is it good? Is that particular?
I never had it.
Oh, you never had it.
Yep.
So Joby didn't share with you.
No.
No,
Oh
I didn't
wow!
share it.
I thought you guys were friends.
Eh,
forgot
me
about
too.
I think that one ended up going to the men's group. Sometimes I meet. I think that one got tried pretty heavily.
Okay.
I think I don't know if it was because of the bourbon or because they just thought it was kind of cool pouring it through the mouth of the elk. I don't know.
Yeah. But it's one of those like Stranahans and out of Colorado.
I
It's
did see it at Ricky's last time I was in there.
yeah, I see the old elk around occasionally, but
It's just unique.
Yes.
I think it's a pretty cool bottle. I've got it right now in my refrigerator, and it's got water in it. So
So you like the bottle?
I like
so
the
that you
bottle.
can
That's
pour
my
it
water
out.
bottle.
There you go.
Outside garage refrigerator.
Well, thanks for sharing that one. I've never had the Caribou Crossing. It's one I've been looking for, specifically for the bottle. I didn't know how the whiskey would be, but it's a solid little whiskey. And now knowing it comes from Buffalo Trace makes sense. But fun bottle to have. So thanks for sharing that. Now we're going to jump into some bottles that we all picked out and kind of all brought today that we think are really good values for what are really good pours.
And
Really
there
good
is a
whiskey.
definite sleeper in here.
One that you consider a huge sleeper.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You'll have to tell us what that is after. This is going to be kind of in that value range of less than $30 a bottle, $30 maybe slightly over 30. We have one that might be a couple bucks over. So let's say $35 or less. all of these you can find every day in a liquor store or at Total Wine or Specs, all for less than $35. And
I would go with what you first said. That,
$30?
I mean, you can find definitely an Elijah Craig in the $27, $28 range. Same with the Evan Williams. I saw it yesterday for $27.
Yep.
Well, the interesting thing too, though, is if you go from liquor store to liquor store, whether it's a big one or a small one, the price differences are a lot closer. Then, so let's say you walk into a small guy's shop and he's got Eagle Rare for $65 or something like that.
Yep.
These guys are about the same.
So now we're talking about allocated. When
Well,
supply and demand,
sort of
right?
at
Right.
Okay.
It definitely is the supply and demand.
It's behind the shelf where you can see it, make an offer kind of thing. You know?
Let this one get popular, and we're talking about the Evan Williams single barrel. And right now it's $25 and $30.
Right.
And
it's
a lot of
popping
times these
more,
things
so.
happen. It makes me think of the McKenna 10-year.
Yes.
Used to be like $21, $22.
Yep.
Then it got whiskey of the year.
Right.
Now it's like $38 and allocated. You can't find
Right.
it anymore.
Very hard
So,
to find.
Yeah. So it happens. But we're going to go through these 6 bourbons that we think are great. The least expensive, we have 2 that are right around that $13 range. And then we go, well, let's just go through and say what we have. We have the very old Barton, which is about a $13 bourbon. The Evan Williams Bottled in Bond at 100 proof, bottled in bond. About $13, Dave, for that?
Yep. $13.
And then we have the Old Granddad, which is $114, also a Jim Beam product. I mean, and you can get that for $18 to $21, depending on where you get it. And then you've got in that same price range, $18 to $20, the Wild Turkey 101, which to me, you were making the comment earlier about college, and that's the one that stands out from that time in our lives that everybody would drink.
Yeah,
was
because
the
when
Wild
you think
Turkey.
of being in college, and I mean, most bourbons that you're looking at back then are in the 80 proof range, and you can get that 101 proof for under $20 for a fifth.
Yep. And it's fantastic bourbon. And then we have the Evan Williams single barrel. Is this new? I mean, I picked this up today. I haven't had it yet. Has it been around for a while?
That's the sleeper there.
That's the sleeper there.
I mean,
Okay.
it's been around, but it's slowly kind of. I've seen it more and more pop up on all these.
That's what I'm
YouTube
starting. I've
shows
started
and
seeing
shows.
people really talk about it as a great bourbon, great value, and this is one I haven't had. You have, Joby?
Yes, I have.
Dave?
I'll
Have not
share a
had it
story
yet.
Okay.
I've had with some of my neighbors on trying it, but it's definitely.
Okay, so I'm excited to try that one. Okay. And then, one for me that's just a staple in that price range is the Elijah Craig.
Same.
I mean, you can get that. It's 94 proof, and you can find it all day long. And I think you're right. I think some of the smaller liquor stores, I see it about $32, $33, but I think you're right. If you go to Total Wine or somewhere else,
Or
it's $28.
Specs. Yep.
Yeah. So we're going to taste through these, and we're going to start. Should we go, I think, least expensive to most expensive, work our way up, see if it. But I'm not going to be surprised if we think some of these less expensive bottles might taste better than some of these more expensive bottles, from what I've heard.
See if how close our palates are.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to tell you guys, I have not had 3 of these, which would be the very old Barton, the Evan Williams Bottled in Bond, and the Evan Williams Single Barrel. I've had the Old Granddad, the Elijah Craig, and the Wild Turkey. So,
All right.
how
Good
about you?
experience. I have had all except for the Evan Williams single barrel.
Joby?
I've not had the Martins or the 114.
The Old Granddad. You've
Old
had the
Granddad.
Evan Williams Single Barrel.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the old granddad should be a treat then.
I love Old Granddad.
Same here.
That to me is one of the best bourbons you can get.
Now, I heard your podcast with Mr. Woodard.
Yeah.
And talked about Wild Turkey, but can't remember the last time I drank a Wild Turkey.
Oh, really?
Back to the college days, yeah.
Well, and this is that price range, like we said, $30 or less.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on how we get through here and where we are on time, maybe we pop into the $30 to $50 range, because then you can get into the rare breed. You've had that,
Yes, no, I've had that.
right? Okay.
Dave
So,
actually introduced me to that one, and I was surprised.
Yep.
So we'll see how we do. But yeah, Wild Turkey, just touching on that quickly, when I first got into bourbon, I looked at it like we talked about, wow, I ain't buying no Wild Turkey. And it took me a year and a half, 2 years until I went to Wade's house and he shared with me. And it was actually the 101 that I went, oh crap, this is really good. You know,
Yep.
you don't remember back when you were younger and you're drinking it and you're just drinking it for effect. You know, mostly shooting it than
Or mixing it with Coke.
or mixing it with Coke. But I just remember playing quarters, and that's what you would,
Yep.
you know, your shots.
Yeah.
Do they still play quarters these days?
Oh yeah,
Really?
oh yeah.
I thought it was all beer pong and all that crazy stuff.
I'm old. Remember?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just talking about kids these days.
These days they
I
play
thought
beer
they
pong.
played
I'm talking
on the
about
phones.
when I was drinking that, it was quarters that you would play and make
I've seen
people
some
drink.
fancy beer pong stuff lately. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's getting out of hand, I think.
But Wild Turkey to me, I think has become my favorite distillery. I mean, they, as far as quality and value, you know, those two criteria, and availability. I mean, I guess you could throw that third one in there.
Yep.
Quality, value, and availability. You don't get anything better than Wild Turkey product.
No, I would agree.
One of your shows coming up is going to be Rise, correct?
We're going to do a show on Rise.
And Wild Turkey came out with the rye. correct?
I got a bottle. Have you had it?
No, I just saw it on there. I thought, okay.
When we're done with this, I'll share a little with you. You guys can tell me what you think. But to that point, we're going to do a show in the next couple of weeks on Wild Turkey as well. We're going to go through 101 all the way up to some of the Master Keep things and some of their older lines that we have. And
That's the
I think that'll be a
glass
fun
shelf.
show. Yeah,
That's the glass shelf stuff, the Master Keep.
Yeah. But I just wanted to talk about Wild Turkey to that point real quick. That I think overall value, quality, and availability, to me, it's the best distillery there is. It just really is. We didn't even mention, getting into Russell's Reserve,
Yep.
the single barrels and things that he has. So,
Yep.
I mean, there's just some really good stuff that comes out of Wild Turkey.
Yes.
All right, who's going to do the honor of pouring?
All right, I'll do the old Barton.
Very old.
Very old Barton.
Very old Barton.
It's probably at least
Now-
3 years old.
Dave, you were saying earlier that you said you've seen this, they had a different package on it, or
Yes. So within the last year, I guess because of the amount of stock they had back that they've worked through, they went from very old Barton bottled in bond for the 100 proof, which is what this is, but it's now labeled as crafted, no longer bottled in bond.
And do we think that's just a marketing thing, or do we think that's because it didn't meet the criteria in one of those areas?
I think because it didn't meet the criteria,
Okay.
because they bottled pretty much everything they had that still fit within the bottled in bond requirements.
Okay.
So now it's just listed as crafted because I think they're using juice from other locations for their blends.
That's what she said.
A little late on that one. So what would be interesting is if we could find somebody who had one of those bottles and see if it's how different it is. Is it drastically different, or is it just a little different? And again, I picked this up today. I've never had it. I've heard a lot of people talk about how this is a quality pour for $13. To me, on the nose, just jumps right out. It's sweet and sugary.
Yep.
yeah, just bam,
I mean, just
it came out
candy.
at you.
Just got some candy there, yeah. So it's a screw top. Does that matter to you guys? It doesn't.
Doesn't matter to me one single bit.
Doesn't matter to me either.
Oh,
Ask anybody drinking Weller 12 or Antique 107 if they're concerned with their screw top.
Used to be 107.
Used to. Now it's cork, but
Well, again, you pay $18, but it's worth it for
Right.
that cork. Talked about that in the last show.
yep.
almost like a peppermint to me.
I get the sweet and I get a little floral, that little. But I will say on the nose, it's a solid nose.
Mm-hmm.
And what's this, 96? No, it's 100 proof. 100 proof.
Yep.
The other one I was looking at is 86, that Edwin Williams single barrel.
Yeah, that little spicy peppermint kind of carried with me on that taste, and then kind of wore off.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what the mash bill on this is because it seems to me like it's fairly high corn and a higher end on rye.
Got a little spice to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like
Mid palate is definitely spicy.
Oh, it is. Definitely is.
Get a little.
I would almost think that's a high rye.
Mm-hmm. Same.
That's what I was saying. That just looks like almost like a rye with that tinge there at the end.
Yep.
It kind of dulls out though, for me.
Yeah, it's not a long finish.
It's 15% rye.
Okay. I mean, it's
75% corn, 15% rye, and 10% malted barley.
okay. I would have thought higher on the rye end. I figured it was high corn or
Yeah.
in the 70s, but
15 on the rye, still pretty good rye.
Mhm.
No, is this Kentucky? Or,
Yeah, Kentucky.
yep.
okay.
But I will tell you, $13, this is a solid drinker.
Mhm.
I mean, all day long.
Yep. I wouldn't want to start with
Yeah.
any of your higher priced $40 to $60 bourbons and then go backwards to this one.
No.
Then I think this one would be exposed then. But if you're starting the evening off with just to get your palate going,
Yeah, it's a warm-up. 100 proof. To me also, you know, if you're at the end of the night and you just want a nightcap or something, you're not looking, you know, depending on where you are in your drinking, air
Right.
quotes, this is a solid little pour.
it is.
Also, you know, to me, if you want to make a old-fashioned or a cocktail, this is, you know, definitely value there for mixing.
Yep. Enough proof to stand up to it with the rye
I was
content.
just going to say, with that rye, I like that.
So what's your favorite mixed drink?
Old-fashioned.
Your old fashioned?
Yeah. Though somebody told me about making a Kentucky Mule, and I have not. Was that one of you guys?
I think so, with the ginger beer and lime.
Yeah. I've never done it.
I have never done it either.
I've always heard of the Moscow Mule with the vodka.
Right.
But somebody was telling me it's great and fantastic, and I was like, okay, you know, I'm going to try that.
Now,
And that might work with this, with the very old
so
Barton.
That's my kind of question I'm leading up to is like with people that are really into mixing. I kind of seen it both ways. Like they will use something lesser price for mixers.
I think
Instead of I don't want to pour my Weller 12 in, you know.
I totally agree with that.
Okay.
I mean,
So
to
maybe
me,
this is a little
having
more-
something that's versatile, that can be a mixer, can also stand on its own, to me is that's a good bourbon to have in a bar.
Yep,
you know, have a couple of
definitely.
those at the house. I would put the 114 Granddad in that same category.
Absolutely.
Drinks on its own, it's a nice pour to have, but if you want to mix with that
Yep. Because it
price
definitely
point, yeah,
has the proof of 114 and the high rye
absolutely.
to stand up in a mixer.
I don't know, like 15 years ago, I didn't drink a lot of whiskey. Like I said, it was more of a mixed drink here and there. But whiskey sours were always. I remember it was something that
Yep.
you'd be somewhere and I like a whiskey sour, and I always kind of now you look back, some of those bars had their their well stock, which is always a lesser
Right.
price stuff. But I just always wondered if you mixed back then, if you mixed it with something good, how much of a difference would it make? I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
because
kind
you
of like tequila, I guess too. You're using
Yeah.
top shelf.
you always see people trying to stir the pot and show that they're making a mixer with their William LaRue Weller or something to just to ruffle people's feathers. Just
So, your opinion, does the quality of the bourbon make a difference if you're mixing it? Enough of a difference to do it, to justify.
to justify
higher-
mixing it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not a mixed drink kind of
Okay.
guy, so I would not say it. But I also say when I see people commenting that how crazy they are, like, man, there are 12 and a half pours in that bottle.
Yeah.
And if you want to use 2 ounces of that 25 ounces to make one mixed drink, what's the
Knock
big
yourself
deal?
out. I mean, my rule's always it's your bottle. Do what
That's
you want.
right.
with it.
You paid for it.
Yeah. I asked the question because typically my mind would say no. To me, there's no reason to use a high-end bourbon in an old-fashioned or a...
Right.
But that might not be true. I don't know if it is or
It
not.
might
It's
not.
my opinion. The only reason I kind of have that, I'm riding the fence a little bit, is if you start talking about a margarita.
That's tequila.
I think
top shelf.
a top shelf tequila
Yeah,
or something.
you're
My
gonna-
wife would say, a better tequila makes a better drink.
Yeah, you're going to use Jose Cuervo Silver, or are you going to use a Patron, or
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
Herradura?
It seems like it's different for bourbon. You know, it's like
Yeah.
mixers.
It's almost sacrilegious.
Yeah. It's so.
Yeah.
It's that's why I've noticed in the bourbon world, it's so different when you talk about mixed drinks.
Right.
Funny we have that kind of, because I do think, and I tell my wife, get top shelf when she gets my, you get
Yeah.
the good stuff.
Yeah.
But here I'm going, I'm not going to put my good stuff in
No,
the old
you're not
fashioned.
getting
I like
top
the
shelf.
old-fashioned with the, that George T. Stack, please.
Yeah. I mean,
That Pappy Van Winkle, please use that.
and it might be that maybe I don't know enough about tequila. Could be one reason that I don't value it enough as far as sipping tequila.
Right.
Again, tequila, I think you're either shooting it or it's going in a margarita.
Yep.
But I know there are some tequilas out there that are sipping tequilas that are expensive, that
Yeah.
are really
I
good.
know.
Yeah, because Joseph has told me, man, you got to try this sipping tequila, and I
Yeah.
had the same mindset as you for tequila. Never been a huge tequila drinker other than in margaritas or, like you said, a shot occasionally. But
Do you remember when Patron first came out? Everybody had that in their freezer. It seemed like there was a big tequila person.
yeah,
You know?
And every tequila is 80 proof, right? They can change it a little bit, but I think almost 95% of them are 80 proof. I think that's one of the. It might be ways they get around it, but I think that's one of the. It has to have agave in it, right?
Yes.
And there's some other rules, but I think it has to be 80 proof.
Now here's a trivia question for you. Do you know what a Mad Dog margarita is?
No idea. What is it?
So it's out of an Old Guy Clark song. Dave should know this.
yep.
It's actually a Mad
First
Dog
served at the
margarita.
Texas Chili Parlor
Oh, really?
in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, it's actually made with mezcal,
Okay.
not tequila.
Right.
But they call it Mad Dog margarita. It's out of an
And-
old country song.
Mezcal and tequila are basically the same thing, just two different regions, right?
And I think the way that they are distilled.
Okay, they are distilled differently.
Mm-hmm.
And some
Okay,
have worms.
didn't know that. I
Some
thought it
have
was
worms in it.
Because tequilas, we were talking earlier about regions and having that class. Tequila is from Tequila, Mexico.
Right.
It's got to be made there to be called tequila.
Yep.
And they have certain rules as far as proofs and
But I would,
process.
if you ever get a chance, if you want to taste some really good, different types of chili, I mean, there's various
Yeah.
blends they have. It's this place in Austin.
Chili, you're talking about, when you say chili, I think two things. Because,
Oh.
I'm married to a Hispanic girl.
Uh-huh.
So chili
No
is
beans.
like a salsa, and
No.
or I think chili, which has got my ground beef and
Yes.
my beans and
That's
all
the
of
kind.
that
That's
makes
correct.
it chili, yeah.
Man, they have some really
See how
hot
I
stuff
snuck that in there? He didn't catch it.
I saw it.
I just kind of looked at it. You've
Yeah.
been there, right, Dave?
I have been there.
Chili has beans in it. Otherwise, it's just a beef stew.
Yes.
Ground beef stew.
People in Texas might argue with you there.
Well, the only reason I would say they might, but they haven't, is because I've been in 2 chili cook-offs with my chili, and I make a Mexican version of chili with beans, and I've gotten first place twice.
Ah,
Yeah.
gotta
So
be-
I use chorizo and ground beef.
Oh,
I
you're
use
telling us your secret.
yeah. Because it's
You
about
put grape jelly in it too?
it's about execution, Joby. It's
right.
about
You
execution.
put grape jelly in it too?
No, that's on my ribs. We talked about that. Now you're not going to get to try those. Dave's going to tell you how good they are, and you're just going to drool.
I can smell them.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Yeah, but Rob posted his chili recently.
Oh yeah.
I
And
did?
It's been a few months on Facebook,
yeah.
but you had everything, all of your ingredients laid out.
Oh,
and-
yeah.
And the rash of shit that you caught for putting beans in your chili.
But again,
I'm right there with you. I put beans in my chili as well.
I will tell you that people who give me shit and then come over and eat it, they shut up pretty quick.
Yeah.
But again, it's a different flavor, so it's not that typical,
Yep. And then you-
Midwest chili,
I
if
don't
you want
know
to call
what
it.
my
Right.
wife can make for you.
What's that?
It'll be a surprise.
Okay.
And then you've got the people that say that no tomato sauce can go in chili, that it should be just
Ketchup?
different breakdown of, because it's called
they want-
chili for a reason, that it's just
Yeah, I disagree with that,
breakdown.
too.
I agree. The breakdown of
When I grew up
of the
back in
different
day,
peppers.
in San Marcos, Texas, they had the Chilippiad every year. I don't know why it went away, but I remember I was around 10 years old. And,
I know why it went away.
oh, you do?
Yeah.
I tried different chilies one time, and I got so sick. It was. It took me a while to Eat chili again.
People lost interest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because there was no beans in the chili. So
I don't know.
there you go.
That's right. So what's the
So
final verdict on the very old Barton?
I am a fan.
I agree.
Never had it before, but I would take a pour of this. I mean, if I saw this at a restaurant, at a bar, and depending on what else they had, this is probably going to be a cost that, I'm going to go, that's a great value at a bar if they have that. And I know I'm starting to see it more regularly, but up until, hearing about it and seeing it up until about, maybe a month, 2 months ago, hadn't heard a whole lot about this one. It seemed like it was a label that used to be out and was kind of readily available and just kind of got back into a higher production or something.
Fortunately for me, I've tasted these other ones, so I'm kind of curious to see. Before I make my decision.
It's going to be interesting.
I totally agree.
Great
that
pace to start.
Having something to compare it to is always, but just on its own, I like it. Whether I like it better than any of these other ones, I'm not sure yet. But definitely one I'm not disappointed I bought it. I'll say it that way.
Yep.
All right, bartender, next up.
All right, we're going to the Evan Williams Bottled in Bond.
Glenn says this is probably his favorite value bourbon. That he thinks this is fantastic.
I'm right in there with Glenn, but I definitely put the Wild Turkey 101
But didn't this
right up there next to
win
it.
something one year? We were talking about it one time.
I'm not sure, but this one, when you see people talking about it, everybody's like, shh, don't talk about it or they'll raise the price.
Yeah.
So
Again, supply and demand, right?
Exactly.
Once everybody starts wanting it.
once you figure out just how good the value is and what you get for it,
Yeah.
but I think you'll see one thing right off the bat is
Thank you, Dave.
difference in color.
Yeah, a little darker.
Let's put the cork back in. Oh, never mind. That's a screw top.
Now it does stand out in the shelves though because of the
White label.
I think it
Yep.
stands out, yeah.
You definitely can find it.
So this is going to be 100 proof as well.
Not as sweet on the nose.
No,
I think we talked a
definitely.
little bit earlier that to me this one has a little more wood profile.
I was just going to say the oak is there.
And once we get to it on the palate, you can tell me what you think.
What I like about this is that it's 100 proof, and just, a lot of times you pour it, you stick your nose in it, you haven't given it enough time to let that ethanol get off.
Mm-hmm.
The ethanol doesn't just beat you up on this one. This
No.
is I don't know if it's right, but it makes me think it's structured pretty well.
Yep.
Definitely different than the Bartons as far as.
Yep. And this one is from one of my favorite distillers in Heaven Hill. So
Okay, this is Heaven Hill.
mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of Heaven Hill. So we're going to get some nuts on this?
Yeah.
Yep.
See? You guys missed that. Look, I got you guys trained. Look what I'm wearing.
I see that.
Got his mic.
Yeah,
Just so
there.
you guys know, you can't see my shirt, but this is what I'm wearing.
That's what she said.
I'm a big fan of The Office.
The Office.
Have you guys watched The Office?
I have not. My daughter has.
What?
You've never watched The Office?
I've watched about 2-minute segments, maybe 3 times. My daughter has probably watched through all the episodes at least 10 times and
Yeah, we've done at least 5 or 6 times watching it from start to
constantly trying to get me.
Dave, you've got to.
beginning. You have homework now, Dave.
Okay.
I mean, seriously. Are you a fan of comedies? Do you like to laugh?
No, I hate to laugh.
Okay. I got that vibe. That's
Yeah,
why I wanted to
yeah,
ask.
you know.
Because I was like, wait, I've never seen Dave laugh. So maybe
No,
he's just kind of a prick. I don't know.
that's right.
No. Wiki Dave comes out. And
Wiki
starts
Dave.
laughing.
No, but it's funny. So
I will have to start watching it one of these days.
It's 30-minute episodes, so.
yeah, and it's on Netflix, so it goes pretty quick.
Yeah.
I think,
All right.
cuts out the commercial. I think you're like 22 minutes an episode.
Kind of like The Ranch.
Yeah, the ranch. Do you like the ranch?
I do like The
That's
Ranch.
hilarious.
I like
Yep.
the ranch, but then they got rid of Rooster, and it.
Rooster got rid of himself.
Poor guy.
Yeah, that was some personal decisions.
Yeah.
Rooster has been convicted of sexual assault.
Yeah.
But with the office, if you ever worked in the office, you know, when I started my career out as an engineer, I worked in an office before I got into sales. So you're in the office every day, and you just, some days, there's just days you just, you know, you're just not focused very well. And it definitely, some of the things that happen in that show is like,
a lot of the same dynamics are in real life.
Because, you know, you can only stare at this computer screen and do stuff for so long.
Not only that, you know, the environment and kind of it translates to what you may have experienced, but the people.
Well, not like, well, that's what I'm saying, the people, but then you look at their product, paper, how boring.
Right. Yeah.
So they had to do something.
But I mean, just the characters themselves, you go, oh, well, we had a, you know, not exactly, but you go, oh, we had a
we had one of those.
We had a Dwight, or we had a Kevin.
We had a Dwight Schrute. We definitely had a Mike Scott.
Yeah. Meredith is pretty funny.
Meredith.
Dave, you've got to get on board with your office. We've got to get you to. So I want to be able to.
I just have so much other stuff going on, you know.
Well, then this needs to leapfrog all of that. If you tell your daughter, I'm going to miss your softball game because I'm going to binge watch The Office, what would she say?
Go for it.
Exactly. She'd be like, about damn time, Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great show. It's really, really, I mean, you know, I like Friends and there's some other ones, but I watch it and I go, okay, I've seen it.
Yep.
But I can watch The Office over and over again and I laugh just as hard. So, I mean, and I'll be honest, I didn't watch it when it was out.
Oh, really?
Live. No, I never watched it then.
Well, Ricky Grievous made it kind of famous out of
because of England.
Yeah. You know, but so when it came out, the first
I never saw that one. People say that's pretty funny.
Yeah, that one's. I've watched some here and there, but when it first came out, I kind of watched it a little bit, but then I got hooked, and next thing I know, I was waiting for the DVD to come out
Yeah.
so I could binge watch it.
Yeah.
That was the old way of binge watching before you had Netflix.
DVDs. When's the last time you bought one of those? And the younger listeners are going, what the hell are they talking about?
That's right.
I just gave my surround sound stereo system with DVD, CD player to one of my cousin's sons. He thought it was pretty cool. But
Going retro, old school.
yeah, I had some good hunt videos.
You can't even buy a car today with a CD player in it
Nope.
or anything.
I'm a truck house man.
Does it really? What year is your truck?
18.
Is it really? It still has a CD player?
Yeah. Usually nowadays it's just the USB port.
Yeah.
Used to be the aux port.
The aux cord?
Yeah. Now it's
That's all Bluetooth. It just connects
Right.
wirelessly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, speaking of back to kind of shows and bourbon, though, how popular have some movies made certain bourbon whiskeys? You know?
Okay, so I have one that I'm currently watching, a show that I watch and love that has a bourbon on there every episode that I finally got my hands on that I've never had.
Okay.
And I don't think I have the one that they had, but it's a version, you know, it's that kind of bottle.
Is that John Wick and Blanton's?
No.
Yeah, so you have like John Wick and Bland's. I read some other stuff. I mean, some other, I can't remember the other name of them, but some show the guys drank a certain one, and all of a sudden that one started flying off the shelf.
So what?
Some of these bourbon guys might want to invest more in movies and what they drink, you know, what their actors drink.
Yeah. So which one did you just come across? Rob?
Billions. Have you ever watched Billions?
Mm-mm.
Okay, it's on Showtime. It's a great show.
Yep. I've seen it advertised,
Oh, yeah,
just
it's
never seen it.
Really good. But on every episode where they're drinking bourbons, the bottle that I got last week, that Michter's, I got the rye.
Oh, the Michter's rye?
The 10-year rye. But they're always drinking a 20 or 25. And that, you know, these are rich Wall Street, you know, hedge fund people.
Gotcha.
Allegedly.
Gotcha.
It's probably just iced tea, but it looks like it's coming out of that bottle.
Yeah, because I think the 20-year is around a $700 bottle.
Retail.
Yeah, retail.
Secondary, I see it about $2,500,
Holy cow.
and then about $4,000 for the 25-year.
Yeah.
Put your checkbook on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So what are thoughts on the Evan Williams bottle and bond?
Higher proof, it's definitely has a little more. You can.
But it's the same proof.
Huh?
It's the same proof.
It is.
Yeah.
It feels
100.
more proofy to me.
Yep.
I guess once you taste it, then it kind of sits there a little bit higher on I guess they're a little more oaky. That would probably be the word for me. It's a little more balanced, I guess I have to say.
That's what I would say. To me, it's more structured. I get the oil on it.
Yep.
Feels a little bit more full-bodied in my mouth. Doesn't have the spice. So I don't think there's as much rye in here as there is in the very old Barton. It's got a nice little finish. To me, the finish on the very old Barton was a little bit better, if I had to be honest.
Yeah, I'm shocked because I like that Evan Williams when I drank.
Yeah.
The Barton just right now is kind of taking the lead for me.
Yeah. This is
Still 100.
on the mouth. I mean, I like this a lot. This is solid.
To me, it reminds me of, because of the oakiness and the tannic, the astringency in it, reminds me kind of a cab that gets you in the back, in your cheeks in the back because of the tannins.
Yeah.
And
That's what I'm saying. Like the alcohol kind of hangs a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely longer finish. I would agree.
I like this. Is solid. $13. Evan Williams, bottled in bond. Wow.
And you wouldn't feel bad about mixing it if you wanted to, if somebody came over and wanted to mix it, but it can definitely stand up to drinking it on its own or with a cube or
to me, that's the main reason to have these bottles.
Absolutely.
We all have friends that come over and you ask them, do you drink bourbon? Yeah, I drink bourbon. What's your favorite bourbon? I don't know. What do you got? When they can't answer that, it's like, okay, you're going to be over here in this category. Yep. Or sometimes they'll say whatever I can put with Coke. Again, you're in this category. So I think these are great. Anytime you can have a versatile bourbon that we can still enjoy like this, because I would drink this neat like this all day long, but at that price point, I don't mind letting somebody mix it if I need to give them something to mix with Coke.
Yeah, this one and our next one are definitely absolute staples at my bar at home.
Yeah. Really good one. Should we move on to the old granddad?
Sure.
If I drink all these pours you're giving me, I'm going to get drunk, Dave.
I better lighten up then, Rob.
Yeah. Are you going to chug yours?
I am. I'm going to shoot it. Isn't that what it's for?
Absolutely. It's not like you have to get on a phone call or anything.
Mm-hmm. There wasn't as much in there as you thought.
That's what she said.
Just a pinky's worth.
I've got to come up with some other sounds for my buttons.
That's what she said.
Yeah. I need some,
What do I need?
let's see, Talk to Me Goose. I don't know. Maybe some Tombstone ones. You can go with some.
Oh, Tombstone would be good. I'll be your help today.
Yep, I just watched that. Watched that yesterday, or the day before yesterday. Yep.
Is old granddad a screw top?
No, it is not.
I didn't think so.
It is a very large cork.
Well, that was kind of weak.
Let me do that again.
Better get it wet.
I watched Hang 'em High with Clint Eastwood the other day. But I have not seen that movie in a long time, and the ending was very... I have to do a little research. I think maybe there's a second...
Two different endings?
or there's a second show, because I got to do my little research on that one, because it just ended kind of strange.
I love Hang 'em High. I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since I've seen it. It's a 70s Clint Eastwood show.
Mm-hmm. Spaghetti Western.
It's funny, Clint Eastwood, even back then, the way his eyes, he would look at people and everything has not changed in years. Even when I see him doing interviews, he's a little, exactly. Dave's giving that look, a little more Al Pacino look, but
He's the kind of guy, he should live in Texas.
he's a pretty good golfer. I used to see him all the time on the Pebble Beach Pro-Am.
He better be good since he owns
I
Pebble
was just
Beach.
going to say that.
That's what I'm saying.
You own and live on a golf course.
Always out there.
My game should have improved, yeah. All right, this is old granddad. Jim Beam product. 114 proof. Can get it right around $20. Sometimes a little less, maybe $1 or $2 more, depending on where you find it, but right around $20.
Yep. And what's very interesting is that it's the same mash bill as Basil Hayden's.
Yep.
And Basil Hayden's goes for $35 to $40 a bottle.
Exactly.
At 86 proof. And the old granddad coming in at 114.
Half the price.
Half the price.
You can't beat it.
No.
It had a real orange initial smell for me.
Do you use some citrus?
Citrus?
Maybe orange mixed with grapefruit kind of thing. I'm not a grapefruit eater, but
That's a hard one for me to pull out, is the citrus.
Definitely a different taste on your tongue when you drink this one.
I don't know if we're doing it wrong with our palate. When we go to 114, then we're going to go back down to some, low 90s and 80s.
Oh yeah, that's a roller coaster right there.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, but to me, the old Granddad 114 drinks well below its proof compared to the Evan Williams Bottled and Bond.
Really? I haven't tasted it yet. Let's see.
Yeah, it doesn't hang on the back a lot.
And I don't get that ethanol burn at the front of my tongue.
It's a little more when you taste it. It's a little some I don't know, like macadamia nuts for me or something like that. Definitely has a little more oaky.
This is you can tell the proof. That extra 14 makes a difference.
It's different.
I like it.
I've never tried it, so this is
Yep.
a little different for me.
I mean, you can't beat any of these. But
Between the three, they're like three different distinct,
Yep.
flavors, but
And
the
it-
prices are so close.
and that's why we say, having all of these in your bar is not a bad thing,
Now, Dave, would you mix this one?
Oh, yeah.
Would I mix it?
Yeah.
Or
If
would you
had
let somebody-
I would
make it
definitely
old-fashioned,
let somebody mix it.
You let somebody mix it.
Now, do you make old fashions?
I've never made an old fashioned.
really?
Yep.
What about a whiskey sour?
I've never made one of those either.
A Manhattan. I'm not a big
So we may have to
Bautista.
do a show, our favorite bourbon cocktails, and we'll make some and see kind of which ones we think are the best, whether it's a
You
whiskey
could bring
sour.
a guest Bautista for that.
I can make that happen.
Yeah.
I have a couple guys that I think would do that with us. And we
You
can
know,
put the bartender on a remote mic so he can be over there working while we talk to him.
I didn't realize though too. This is a little side note, but like the old James Bond, shaken not stirred. Never really paid attention what the differences was until a bartender showed me one time. It was,
What's the difference? Shaken, not stirred.
One's shaken, one's stirred.
I didn't think there was a difference in taste, but there
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
is.
Oh, yeah.
Does it bruise it if you shake it?
I think it's got to activate and just kind of incorporate and
I think
Yeah, it's just not
more than just that subtle little.
I would think the shaken with ice and a shaker would dilute it a
That's
little
what I was
more.
just going to say.
That's
It's
what I'm
going to
saying.
lessen the
One of them's a
alcohol.
little
Yeah. That's one of my favorites.
I agree. This is a regular go-to several times a week for me.
And I would say that,
God, there's something like a chocolate-covered macadamia nut
That's
or
what I said,
something.
like macadamia
Something.
nut,
I
something
mean,
like that.
it's a Jim Beam product,
Yeah.
so you're definitely going to get the funky nut
I'm saying
nut
it's
note.
like I don't want to say coffee, but it's not.
No,
coffee,
it's not coffee.
But it's like some kind of nutty flavor.
But I do get some
Maybe toffee.
chocolate.
I can see the toffee.
Maybe toffee. Kind of like what is that?
Did I underpour you that time, Rob?
No. It's actually perfect because I won't lie. I like to
Swirl the fumes around.
and get it, what's left all around the glass because then the alcohol kind of goes away and I can
Yep.
kind of pick up some other notes on the.
Rob's pulling out his old wine tricks again.
We're gonna get you there, Joe.
So have either of you, on accident, finished the night with ounce or two of whiskey still in your glass and left it sitting there without a whiskey cap or anything on top of your Glencairn
happens,
and
Angels,
come
though.
back to it the next day?
I don't. That's why I was mentioning what I was doing because I don't usually finish the night. But when I finish my last bourbon, a lot of times my wife doesn't like the alcohol, But I'll take a glass like this, set it in the window
Yes.
over the sink, come back in the morning.
It's
and my
amazing
wife-
the amount of brown sugar caramel.
It's wonderful.
Yes, it is.
And my wife will smell that and go, "Oh,
Yeah,
that's
because all the ethanol is gone.
gone."
But that's
And-
but by mistake, I finished the night and didn't finish the glass and it was a higher proof whiskey,
What
and
happened, Dave?
came back to it, and practically all of the ethanol had evaporated. So it was just drinking.
See, even like this, where I finished, Ernie was the one who told me to do that. I didn't know about it until he had mentioned we were doing a podcast.
Yep.
And you notice this and go, well, there's nothing left. But if you let this sit and dry,
Oh yeah.
and by in the morning or several hours later, I mean, it's amazing.
Yep.
You're just picking up all of, like you said, the brown sugar, the vanilla, the oak, the cherries. Everything is
Right.
more pronounced, and you can pick out what those flavors are without the alcohol getting in the way,
Right.
which I think is great.
So what'd you think of the old granddad, Joe?
I've never tried that before. That was it was definitely to me a little nuttier flavor, which is kind of different than the other three. I mean, the other two.
Do you
I like it.
do you have any Beam product that you're a big fan of?
Another one that Beam in my brain. It's a mixer.
What's that?
It's like sacrilegious, right?
So you don't have Beam products that you like? You don't like Bakers or
I've tried that Baker's.
Booker's? or
Booker's,
I've tried Booker's.
Knob Creek.
Booker's.
Knob Creek?
I do have a Knob Creek 12 that I recently picked up. I did like that.
Yeah, that one's hard to
I
beat.
did have Knob Creek one. I think that's the only one that I really have though. I saw the Knob Creek Rye the other day, and I kind of almost reached for it, but I have like two of the ryes that I need to drink. So
Yep.
for the rye show, by the way, I have a signed Clyde May rye.
Oh, let's try that. You know, when I first got into bourbon, that was one that I drank a lot. and
Clyde
liked.
May.
Yeah.
Haven't had any of their
Alabama,
products.
of all places, and
Yeah.
Yeah. I did watching the It's Bourbon Night. They did a little, I guess it would call a bracket on whatever I forget what round it was, where they had the bourbons that were in the Clyde May bracket. And they were surprised doing the blinds that Clyde May won up against some of the other more,
Yeah, because that's Alabama.
Yeah.
That's an Alabama
Right.
product.
Alabama. Yep.
Yep.
But I remember drinking that when I first got into bourbon. Some people would tell me about it, and I remember liking it. But it's been a couple of years since I've tried it, so
Yeah.
I might need to go back and try that again.
what's next?
So next
should
in
we do-
price, I think we go to the
Evan Williams?
Evan Williams
Yeah, I
Yep.
think so. Let's do the Evan Williams.
single barrel.
This is only going to be like, what is this, 87, 86 proof?
Yeah, this is almost 87, 86.6.
0.6.
Makes a difference.
Very precise.
I hate wax tops like that.
Have you seen I saw like a commercial or something for makers, and was a lady sitting there making the tops for them.
Oh, really?
I said, man, that seems like I would thought that would be, ooh, there's a good one.
That is a good one, Dave.
I thought that would be an automated process, but now maybe it is.
Doing the
For
wax
commercial
dips?
Yeah, to putting the wax on it,
You're talking about makers.
Correct.
Yeah, they do those all by hand. dip them in.
Yeah, I mean, I would think
Yeah.
that's an automated thing,
I saw just recently, I don't know if you saw it, Rob, in the Houston Bourbon Society, a guy put together his own Weller collection in 2-ounce bottles, built a wooden box
I did see that.
and lined and
But
and created the exact replica of the label to go on a 2-ounce bottle.
that's what I was going to say. The bottle and everything,
With
if
the
it
wax
was the
top.
blue label with the full proof, the red with the OWA, the black with the Weller 12, and it looked awesome.
Yes, looked awesome.
Because he had a Glencairn at the end.
Correct.
And then you could close it, and it was
In the-
almost like a little
Yeah, the foam slots
gift
to
pack
hold everything.
or a
Yes.
travel thing, but that's more of a keepsake, I would think.
Yes. He said he would never open it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now this one here, you guys have not tried it. I haven't.
Never had
As
this.
soon
No,
as
I've
I-
heard
as soon
good
as I
things.
sniff it, it's like an old friend, kinda.
That's what she said.
Kinda open that door,
just
Joby.
just the smell, the quick smell that I got off of
That's
them
what she said.
And what is it?
after the pour to me was apple,
It's like, what do you smell?
like apple cobbler.
Ooh, I
Yes.
get that apple. Yeah.
Yes. with a little bit of like vanilla ice cream,
Yep,
right?
yep, with vanilla ice cream.
favorite.
Yep, apple cobbler with vanilla ice cream.
That's why I think maybe that's why this is one of my favorites.
Boy, that apple is very.
it's
pronounced.
very distinct in that. You know.
Ooh,
Now,
I
speaking
like
of
that nose.
that's another show, by the way.
Which is?
Infused bourbon.
Uh,
Have you seen it, that thing? That topic right there. I've seen a lot more and more like show up and people talking about.
Give me some examples. Don't tell me you're talking about what? Give me an example of an infused bourbon.
Like
Well,
taking.
there's two different ways that I understand. Now I'm going to butcher this. This is more the cooking thing. The sous
Sous vide?
vide, and how it's kind of like pickling. You know, if you do pickles, they stick it in
Vinegar.
In a water bath or what?
They pickle it and everything. But the same thing. Let's say you take a mason jar and you put your favorite bourbon in it,
Mm-hmm.
and you put apples and
So you're
cinnamon,
basically creating a
vanilla.
brandy.
Okay, so that's why I'm bringing this up a little bit, just because I was kind of curious. then you cook, you know, you have it in there for the higher heat, and then you chill it, then you pour it out and see what it tastes like. Now go back to the college days of infusing things, you know, the watermelon and all that
Yeah.
stuff. But it's interesting to see. Then there's another ways that you put it in a mason jar with apples and cinnamon and stuff, and you just let it sit for a couple weeks at a time, and see how it changes the taste. I don't know. I just saw that as kind of like, now, if you have something that tastes really good and you want to change it again and add more
Right.
stuff, I'm trying to understand that. I don't know.
It's people.
I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah,
Just
neither
like
am I.
I don't want to buy the maple crown or
Same.
the vanilla crown or the, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just for fun, I do have an infinity bottle that I will put an ounce or
That's
two.
a whole other deal.
Yeah,
Right there.
an ounce or two of good bottles that I enjoy all into one bottle. And people, you know, you got people that are purists that say there are master blenders that put together these bourbons and they sell them as they are for a reason. So why are you trying to
Well,
perfect something?
Now maybe the people like to do that, and they like bourbon infused apples. I would see it the other way. You know.
But to me, I don't have a problem with it. One, my main point would be back to you bought it. You can do what you want
Correct.
with it.
No.
But I would also say, you know, you could make the analogy, it's your version of a burger or a pizza. You know,
Right.
sometimes you want different toppings on
Right.
it, right? It's still
if,
pizza.
And if you're combining in your infinity bottle, a Heaven Hill product with a Jim Beam product, you're getting two completely different flavor profiles.
See what it does.
Yep.
Because
And
those master distillers don't have access to be able to
Correct.
do that. So we're doing something they can never do.
that's right.
Yeah.
And to me, I like that. I have an affinity bottle. The only thing I'm doing different is one is just for ryes, and one
Yep.
is for bourbons.
And every suggestion I've ever seen said absolutely keep those two separate
Yeah.
because if you even put in 1 ounce of a rye, it's going to
And
dominate
rye-
the flavor.
I'm
Yeah.
sure the rye is just going to overtake that.
Yep.
That's just-
Dominate the flavor profile.
So
Yep.
yeah, a buddy of mine told me the same thing. So I did it that way. Thank you.
Yeah, and the other piece of advice I got was never add anything to your infinity bottle that you don't like.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, that makes sense.
here, my answer to that would be if I don't like it, I'm probably not going to get down to an ounce or two left because
Right.
I'll give that bottle to somebody else.
It would be like me pouring Willet pot still into my infinity
Yeah,
bottle.
not going to happen.
No.
Yeah. To me, the
Why would
Infinity
I?
Bo-
Why would I add the inside of a garbage can taste to my infinity bottle?
Have you gotten your infinity bottle filled where you've actually poured out of it?
No, I have poured out of mine.
Oh, you have?
I have sampled it several different times.
I haven't done that yet. Mine is right behind that E.H. Taylor over there, and I'm about maybe this far from the top. So.
Yep, I'm probably 8 ounces from the top, but I have filled mine to a certain level. Tried it, and
Yeah.
it's pretty outstanding, actually.
Yeah, you know, Glenn brought over one time when we did a show. He brought over an infinity bottle, and it was fun to drink out of.
It
that.
is.
And
It
then
is.
he'll go home and get something else, and
Yep.
that's why it's called an infinity bottle. It's
That's right.
gonna-
You never drink it down to the bottom.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder how much do people let it get down before they start filling it up again. I've never had that discussion.
No, same.
I've always made the assumption when you take a couple pours out, you put it right back in for the most part.
Yeah, I've had probably 3 pours out of mine, a couple ounces each time, but then just when I get down to the last ounce or 2 of a bottle that I really like, I'm pour it in there.
Yeah.
I have a neighbor though that also likes to infuse tequila with
With
different
jalapenos?
types of jalapeno peppers.
Yep.
Well, I should say jalapeno peppers, but different,
Different peppers?
And he kind of a little too extreme. I mean, habanero is one thing when you got these scorpion peppers and stuff. It's a whole different thing. But when I saw this infusion with the bourbon, I thought, that's I don't know about that. That's a little different.
Yeah, that wouldn't interest me.
Me either.
But
I have seen the pepper-infused vodka and the pepper-infused tequila, especially when you're making, when those are being used to make mixed drinks.
That's what I was going to say. There's certain rums that have a flavor,
Right.
Whether it's a coconut rum for a pina
rum is a
colada.
whole
Or,
Right.
other animal right there.
Yeah.
Yep. So what are your thoughts on the
I'm
Evan
gonna
Williams
tell
single
you
barrel?
that I'm a fan. First time having it, I like this a lot.
So, little shout out to some neighbors. The guy I know had his 40th the other night, and so we did a little tasting, and he had a bottle of Blanton's he was proud of. He got his baseball card. He got his his King Griffey Jr.
Yeah,
rookie
that's it.
card.
Rookie year, yeah.
Then he went back and got another one, and then another one. So I said, well, you need to drink one.
So he hadn't opened it
He
yet?
hadn't opened it.
Oh, wow,
So-
okay.
So he opened it, and I had a couple other neighbors there, and I said, now look, he had a bottle of that Evan Williams and single barrel, and I said, now look, let's put these blind, and y'all taste them, you tell me which one you like. And 4 out of 4 ended up liking
Yeah.
the single barrel Evan Williams.
4 out of 4.
4 out of 4.
I'm going to tell you, I'm
Now,
again.
2 of them have drank bourbon before. The other 2 were not as.
Well, that's a
But-
good gauge.
but
You
to
have some
me, that was pretty
experienced
fair.
palates,
Right.
and you have some new palates.
You're not being
Now when I told
swayed because of the name.
Now, when I told them the price differences and how hard it was, they were floored. They're just, excuse me?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is half the price, and you can find it on the shelf right now. Don't talk too loud.
Don't go buy it now.
But this is and I think it was Glenn who told me that this is one that he really likes. And when I saw it today, I said, this would be fun to throw in with us. I know it's supposed to be a really good one.
Yep. I saw it on the shelf yesterday at Total Wine, and it's still sitting at Total Wine.
I'm not disappointed.
No, it's
I got it at Dandy,
Mm-hmm.
$30, $29.99.
Yep.
What is it at Total Wine?
27.
Okay, so $25-$30.
Yep.
But same thing, it's, you smell that sweetness. Even when I kind of, I guess, I didn't know, you talk about Werther's candy.
Mm-hmm.
But the caramel kind of taste at the end for me. I mean, I'm learning more and more that I'm more of kind of a sweet tooth person.
Yep.
But it has enough, I guess,
But-
balanced body for it that I just really like it all around.
To me, the nose, it's definitely that Heaven Hill product.
Mm-hmm.
You're not getting all the oak and everything on that like
Nope.
you do on.
And that's the thing too. I'm kind of I'm finding it more and more that I kind of tend to sway it away from the oak.
Really?
Yeah, and with the Heaven Hill, you're definitely getting the sweeter
Oh, you definitely
caramel,
on the
brown
nose,
sugar.
Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of, I was gonna
And I hear a lot of people go, "I like oak. I don't." I mean, I like oak.
I do.
I haven't found any that I just go, I don't like that profile. Whether
Correct.
it's any distillery. I mean,
Same.
I like it being different. I don't know if that comes from the wine background. But
And-
I'm more open-minded to trying different.
Same, because
Yeah.
people ask me all the time, what's your favorite wine? And it's like, well, it depends on what day it is.
Yeah.
Or what time of the evening it is.
Yeah.
It's so vastly different that
Dave, have you seen one of these?
Showing a picture of.
oak infusion spiral.
An oak infusion spiral. I had a
So,
cousin that showed this to me.
I think those.
What's a spiral?
So it's oak that's cut into a
Oh,
spiral.
that kind of spiral.
And
Okay.
So you pour your
Your bourbon.
into a mason jar, and you put this piece of oak in there. And if you wanted, I guess, more oak here,
So it's
It makes me think of Eden, Oak and Eden from Texas.
right.
That always puts a
a stave.
a spiral
Oh,
stave,
yep.
little piece in the bottle.
So it's
Yeah.
interesting. I guess if you really like that oaks, and the same thing like when you cook. By the way, this is where this is a cooking show too, right?
Yeah.
So when you barbecue with different types of oak,
Yep.
pecan, mesquite, that's
Different
what's fine
influences,
out here
wood
in,
influences. Yep.
in Texas, and then you can kind of go Yankee a little and go hickory and all that other stuff. but that's there's actually different oaks, by the way. But that's another
absolutely.
story.
We're at the point in the show where we need to take a break for the sponsors, so let's let them give their message, and we'll be right back.
All right.
All right, we don't have a sponsor.
I was like, where's the sponsor at?
You were looking like, oh shit, he's got a sponsor.
Yeah.
No, not yet. So anybody
Shoot.
listening, you want to
I
sponsor
thought
the
Longhorn
show?
Liquor would jump in, or
You want to sponsor?
I'll have
Jump
to talk
in.
to my
Contact me.
cousin. Maybe his survey company want to sponsor.
There you go. That'll help get us some more equipment and do some other fun things.
I'll give
I always
him a
listen to other podcasts and I hear them go, at the point of the show, we've got to take a break for the sponsor. And they play this nice ad and, or read an ad for them. And I'm like, well, I got to start having my break for the sponsor.
that's right.
Only I don't have a sponsor, but I need to practice, you know.
Maybe you can find a
You can go back and
maybe
backfill
you
that.
can find a glass company that wants to maybe not just liquor company, but special table fare,
Okay, so that's the Evan Williams.
single barrel.
Why did we skip Wild Turkey? Are we saving that for the last for a reason? As far
Maybe
as
that's
price?
that's in honor of.
I think
being
we,
the oldest,
We're going to finish
I
with
guess.
that one?
You still have the Elijah Craig.
Yeah, we still have the Elijah Craig, but I think because the Wild Turkey is a handle, we overlooked it.
Okay.
Because it was supposed to go in right after the old Granddad
Yes,
114.
it was. So we just kind of leapfrogged it. But I would say we can do it at the end because
Yeah.
to me it's back up to that higher proof.
Yep, it'll stand up. Yeah, that Evan Williams single barrel is very, very good.
It is very, very good. It is a lower proof, easy drinker. Here's the other thing I would say about these bottles. You know, we're talking about just good value and not chasing the more expensive stuff. But these are also, I think, great, you know, if somebody's listening or you have a friend that you say, you know, I want to get into bourbon, but I can't afford to get into it at that level
Right.
of paying all that money.
Yep.
These are some great ones to get into for a, you know, if a wife says, my husband has an interest in bourbon, I'd like to get him 4 or 5 bottles just to kind of have at the house to start with.
Yep, and you could
It's
get
a
all
great
6
starter
of these
kit.
bottles for under $100.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
that's true.
and I'm looking at the back of this Evan Williams single barrel, and it is 8-year age statement.
That's 8.
Yep.
I mean, you can't. To me, bourbon's real sweet spot
Less
is
than $30.
6 to 10 years. To
Yep.
me, is a great sweet spot for bourbon,
Yep.
and that's 8 years, less than $30, and it's fantastic.
Yes.
That will be one I will keep around regularly now, kind of in that granddad and
Yep. That one will.
So
Next
if
time
you
I go
want
to Total
sneak
Wine,
in
it-
there, if you do a blind tasting with like your single barrels, your E.H. Taylors, or
Mm-hmm.
you know,
we were talking about that before you got
sneak that
here.
in there. I'd be curious to see.
I said let's do a blind with 5 single barrels,
Yep.
and we'll throw an Evan Williams in, and I'm not sure what would be another shelf hero type single barrel, but then we'll do like an E.H. Taylor and a Blanton's and something else, and let's see how they stack up.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a fun little show to do.
Didn't Jack Daniels just came out with a single barrel?
Well, they've got their single barrel program where they've got the single barrel proof and their single
I was
barrel.
somewhere and saw like on an end cap and they were promoting it.
Yep.
I thought you were going to tell me Jack Daniels and Evan Williams got married or something.
Little ditty about Jack and Diane.
Yeah. But yeah, this is solid. This would be. I'm very impressed with this, to be honest with you. Very, very impressed with this.
Yep. Heaven Hill puts out some good product.
One of my favorites. I mean, you've had their new bottled and bond,
As I
the
say, well, that was
7-year.
that's kind of the new little buzz going around. I saw that it's a Heaven Hell bottle and bond. Never tried that one.
I've got it if you want to try it. It's fantastic. It's one of my favorites. But again,
Same.
you get people that go, I'm not a fan of Heaven Hill.
Right.
But to me, I like them all, man.
Yep.
I like that they're different.
Yes.
I don't want all of these to taste the same. Why would I buy them? Just buy one.
Yep. Of all the bourbons that I've had and have in my collection, stock, whatever you want to call it, there have been very few, just like when I drink wine, there are very few that I will pour out.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm a fan of wine. I'm a fan of bourbon.
Yep. I agree.
There are some that don't fit my palate, but I will finish the bottle.
I typically, if I find one, and you're right, you'll find one that you just don't like.
Yep.
I give it away.
Yeah.
There's the old tombstone, our young guys right there. I shall finish the game.
Yep.
And the reason I give it away typically is it's a good bottle. You know,
Yep.
like Old Ezra 7.
Right.
I need to retry that because it's been
You weren't a
while.
fan?
I wasn't a fan.
Wow.
I ended up giving a bottle to Chris Jackson.
Holy cow.
But I'm not going to just muscle that down if I don't like it. I'm not going to mix it because I know it's better than what should be mixed.
Right.
So I'll typically give it to somebody who I know
Who can appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Now, there's one that's not here that I got to give a little shout out to my. Me and Dave have a friend named Pete, call him Dead Eye Red. It's a long story, but he mentioned to me, he said, I can't believe you're not going to have our ET on there. I said, what ET?
Early times.
But we don't have that one here today.
No, Early
But-
Times Bottled and
Bottled and
Bond
Bond.
just got bought out by
Yeah.
Buffalo Trace.
Buffalo Trace. Everybody's speculating.
Yep.
Mr. Pete.
Expect it to be allocated and the price to double.
So, Mr. Pete, yeah, your early times is a changing.
The only thing for me when all that came down was I'd never had a bottle before, so I didn't think there was any reason to run out and get one just because people thought it was going to,
Yep.
not be as available here pretty soon.
And I got it right when it came out, probably a year and a half ago. One of the stores that I visit said, I just got something new in. I've been hearing good things. You ought to try it. And it comes in a liter bottle, not a $7.50. So I said, okay, for $20, $22,
Try it.
I'll give it a try. And I'm a fan.
Okay.
Yep. But and when they announced that Buffalo Trace bought it, I have to admit that I, like the crazies, went out and
Bought another
bought
one or
another
two.
bottle or two. Just
So you're saying if we put it in this lineup, it would stand with these?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's
I
interesting.
would definitely put it in the range of the Evan Williams Bottled and Bond
Really?
And the
'Cause
wild-
that's really good.
and the Wild Turkey 101,
That good?
which we haven't gotten to yet.
Wow.
It's a good night starter or night ender, like you said before.
Yeah.
But when you're going to compare it to something that's in the $50, $60 range, it's going to be exposed.
Right.
It's not a $50, $60 bottle of bourbon. It's a $22 bottle of bourbon.
Yeah.
So,
But
Fortunately, he's been abused, I think, as a mixer, though.
well, and that's the ET low proof. That's the ET
Correct.
86
86.
proof
But then
that is a well mixed. Yeah.
yeah.
So-
you have that stigma of it.
Yeah.
You see it.
Oh,
you're not paying attention.
Deadeye Red likes to drink the 86 proof. So
Can't
who's
handle
Dead Eye
the heat.
Red?
that's Pete Nolan, our buddy.
That's quite a nickname.
Yep.
See that good a shot?
Oh, he's pretty good.
He's pretty good when he hadn't had too many little beers.
Little beers.
That's another story.
She do like 4-ounce beers or what?
Oh no, it's just
You may have to
It's
get.
a liqueur that's called Little Beer.
Really?
Pete.
Never heard.
Pete, if you get Pete on the show here, he can teach you something.
Can you tell some stories?
Oh, he got a lot of stories. He also has a famous uncle, but
Yep.
very good guitarist, and
Played guitar for Gary Stewart.
Who's his uncle?
this guy named Dub.
Yep.
Just Doug?
Dub,
Dub.
as in W.
But
W.
he
He's pretty famous if he's got one name like Madonna.
Dub.
And he's only got a partial name. Dub.
Yeah, but his uncle's a pretty good guitarist. That's a whole other show you could do too.
Yep. All right. So where are we going? Are we
Elijah
going
Craig.
You got 2 choices.
Are we going Elijah Craig, or are
I
we
think
going
so.
back to the Wild Turkey
I'd
101?
say we go Elijah Craig just from a
'Cause
proof
it's lower
standpoint.
proof?
Yeah, 86, 94, and we'll finish at the
You
101.
finish with the old school.
Perfect. All
Kind of
right.
like we did 2 rounds here, with the 100, 114.
Yep.
Then we went 86, 94, and we'll finish at 101.
Now, why
Yep.
does that say single barrel select on the back?
Because this is a Elijah Craig store pick by Dandy Liquor
Ah,
here in Katy.
Yep.
possible.
Future sponsor.
A few of us guys picked that one out. That was
So were you?
about a
So
year and a half.
you were involved in the barrel
pick.
tasting of,
Oh, yeah.
of
Oh,
this?
Can you explain that? Because I've never been to that. It's like, can you elaborate on, like, you just show up, they have a barrel, or
Nope.
it's a couple barrels? How does it work?
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
So typically what happened, I mean, I've not been to Kentucky when they've done barrel picks, which I think would be the more fun way to do it.
Thought they
where-
maybe sent samples.
yeah, so they send samples of
Okay.
these different barrels,
That was a good
a
one.
little bottle, about half that size, and then you get to go in wherever you want to meet at a restaurant or somebody's house, and we'll taste through them and talk about them and kind of pick the ones we like the best. And once you pick it, then whoever
cool.
you're working through, Dandy or Longhorn or whoever it might be, HBS when they do their picks will let that
So-
distillery know this is the barrel we want because they come with a number on
Number,
it. They're
yeah.
labeled. Yeah,
So who fronts the cost of the
the
barrel?
liquor store.
Okay.
That's why most places go through a liquor store. And that's why, to me, I want to do some of these through Food, Wine, and Whiskey and get some of us together and do some barrel picks. But I would like to do it where we pre-sell. So that the liquor store knows that there's already some
Enough
sold,
demand.
and his exposure isn't, man, I hope you guys can sell some of these. So,
Now, does wine do the same?
No.
same thing?
Nope.
no, you don't do that through wine. Now, there's ways to buy a barrel of wine if you want. You have to have a lot of money. But there's also, what is it called? Premier in Napa Premier, where every year for a charity, they have not every, but a lot of the winemakers in Napa Valley will pick out what they think is their premier barrel of wine, and they will take it to this auction show, and then it gets auctioned off for a lot of money.
But with wine, it's so vastly different because no matter what you're getting, you're not getting a single barrel wine.
Never.
Everything is blended.
Blended.
Because to
You
me,
wouldn't want it.
no, you wouldn't want it. It doesn't have the flavor profile. I mean, they're adding. I mean, you do have some that are 100% Cab or 100% Merlot, 100% Cab Franc that are
Still 2 barrels mixed.
correct, but it's all of the same
Vineyard,
varietal.
fruit. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Yep. But you are just you're
'Cause
just
you
not
get
getting
that a single vineyard would be maybe the
Right.
closest to a single barrel.
right
Because all
Correct.
that fruit's coming from one vineyard, one plot of land.
Yeah.
Even though in this end I got a barrel, and over all the way on this end I got a barrel, and they could be completely different.
Yep.
But you blend them together and you go, this is fantastic.
But those single vineyard tend to be
good stuff.
good stuff and
Yeah.
high priced.
So that would probably be the best way, Dave. I would compare a single barrel would be a single vineyard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Because just off the top of my head, especially with Pinot Noirs, that they do single vineyard.
Yes.
So
Because then you have single vineyard, you'll have an estate,
right.
cab. What else do they have? Anything else that designates it as a quality? Is there any other? What
Now
am I missing?
the estate's probably the biggest.
Yeah.
And then with
But
the
to
single
me, a single vineyard within that estate is even
single
more.
block. I mean,
single block,
you
block
got
27 or
Right.
whatever block it came out of.
right,
And sometimes they'll mix two. Block 3 and block 19 got,
right.
yeah.
Yep, and it varies from year to year. That's what.
Okay, Joby, just so you know, our next show, we need to do a wine show. I haven't done a wine show yet.
Yep, I would love
where
to
we
do a
just
wine show.
Sit down and drink some wine and talk about the wine.
Yep.
Because I honestly haven't had,
Does your wife like wine?
my wife loves
Or
wine.
we need to bring the ladies in.
Oh, yeah, I would love to do that. I think that would be a fun show.
Yep.
We'll get Paige, and your wife's name is Holly. Yep. and do a show up here and drink some wine, and we can have some dinner afterwards.
Yep. That would be a.
This right here, initial smell, black cherries. That's for me.
And you're talking about the Elijah Craig,
Another Heaven Hill product.
another Heaven Hill product. So we've got Jim Beam, Wild Turkey, Heaven Hill, and what is Very Old Barton? Is it its own?
I think that's Old Bardstown.
Oh, it is, okay.
Yep.
I mean, a whole nother show too is your Texas whiskeys. That's a you have to you have to really hold up on that one.
Yeah.
It's,
Black cherries, huh?
I don't know. That's why the first smell was like a black cherry, maybe a raspberry, something like that. Definitely easy on the tongue. Again, with the lesser proof, it doesn't kind of hang around that long.
And this is jumping up 8 points in proof from the Evan Williams single barrel. So
It leaves a little tartness for me though. I think compared to that single barrel Evan Williams being a little bit sweeter, and this one's has a little tartness.
To me, it's a little spicier too.
mm-hmm. I'm a huge Elijah Craig fan, so
Yeah.
this is
I know
right.
you're chasing your holy grail, the 18, right? But you've tried here.
I haven't
But you don't,
been lucky enough to have Rob give me a taste of Elijah
You say
Craig.
you
18.
have or haven't?
Have.
yeah.
Okay.
At our
Yeah, he
at our
doesn't
last
have his
podcast.
He doesn't
Yep.
have his baby.
Yeah, we did try that.
That
last
was
time.
our warm-up bottle last time, the Elijah
right.
Craig 18. But all things Elijah Craig,
How often does
For
that
me.
18 year come out?
It's allocated, so I think
don't
it's
know.
once a year.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't have a clue. It maybe gets distributed a couple times a year, but it's hard to find.
It is.
I've been blessed enough that I've got one with a little bit left, but I got 2 backups now because I was worried I'm going to crack that other bottle. And I went last week at
Yeah.
Longhorn
Rob went back for the paella and
in the
and
afternoon,
the pig.
and they put more bottles out. So I got an Elijah
I have
Craig
a feeling
18.
they were going to do that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, what liquor store is going to leave empty shelf space?
I was laughing. I was in line there, and we were all spaced out and everything. And I kind of peeked around the corner in the back, and all the boxes of, Blanton's Eagle Rare, and just all discarded out there.
Yep.
It's a lot of boxes.
Okay, so
I still
before we have the Wild Turkey 101,
Mm-hmm.
let's rank what you've had so far from least favorite to favorite, or from favorite to
Yeah.
least favorite if you want to.
I'm
Who wants to go first?
gonna be a little different than you all.
Go ahead, Joey.
Yep. Fire away.
Definitely the Evan Williams single barrel is number 1 for me. I kind of like the Old Barton. Old Barton and the Evan Williams bottled in bond, pretty close. It's 2 distinct flavors in my opinion. And the Granddad 114, I know you guys like that, but I don't know, it just kind of fell off for me
Yeah.
so far. Elijah Craig's kind of in there, but if I had to pick, if I went somewhere and I had to pick, I would go with definitely the Evan Williams and single barrel, and I don't know, it'd be tough for me on the Granddad and the Elijah Craig. That's kind of where I'm at.
Okay, Dave.
Yep. For me, I would, from what we've tasted so far, I think the Evan Williams single barrel was the biggest surprise for me. I thought that it was outstanding, even though it's a little bit lower proof at 86.6. Old Barton I like as a kind of standalone, but I just don't think there's enough complexity there, not enough finish. I'm a big fan of the Old Granddad 114 high rye. I like the spice. I like the proof point. But again, Elijah Craig is in my wheelhouse, so I'm a huge Heaven Hill. If I haven't already said that 5 times during this podcast, I'm a huge Heaven Hill fan.
You like Heaven Hill?
I think I do like Heaven Hill. So, probably my least favorite out of all of these is the Very Old Barton. But saying that, the price point on all of these, it's not like any of these are bad bourbons.
That's what I was going to start with, is that they're all really, really good. So
Yes,
when we
for
say
what
least
they
favorite
are.
to favorite,
Yep.
the gap isn't like there's a big
No.
discrepancy
Definitely
between the two.
different profiles.
Yeah, they're definitely, and that's why you buy different whiskeys,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
That's why you buy different wines.
And you've
'cause you
got
want that.
a $17 or $18 price gap from the lowest to the highest.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're going broke to try any of these.
It's interesting in kind of the area I live. Some of the ladies that my wife hangs out with, they like these seltzer drinks, these White Claws and all that. Yeah. And I kind of ask them, why do you like one over the other? And you know what their answer always is? It's taste, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So it's kind of like when I explain some of them, it's like, some of these bourbons are different in taste and smells and things. They look at me a little funny, and I said, no different than the seltzer you drink.
Yep.
I mean, I always put it back to food. You can have a certain type of food.
Yeah.
You can have a different steak.
The
Tonight,
three of
a-
us
a
can cook
ribeye
3
is
different steaks.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's for sure.
Same exact ingredients, same
Yep.
cut,
And
and they're going
chili.
to taste totally different.
with beans.
So
No
I,
beans.
I would tell you that my favorite, if I'm going to rank these from my most favorite to least favorite, again, all of them, I wouldn't be disappointed to have any of them in my bar and offer them to anybody, even at the price point. I wouldn't be embarrassed to be offering somebody a $13 bourbon because it stands up. It's that good.
Yep.
But I agree that this Evan Williams,
That's
single
definitely
barrel,
the sleeper, like Joby said in the beginning.
that is some fantastic bourbon right
Yes.
there. I really like the way it's got just the body to it, the structure, the complexity, the oil on it. I like. I'm a big fan of the oil.
Yep.
Which then takes me to the other Evan Williams.
Yep.
Which is, I've not had any of either one of these Evan Williams or this Very Old Barton, but the 2 Evan Williams, I'm a fan.
And
Never
that's
had it.
probably the biggest thing that which same with the Elijah Craig, which is another Heaven Hill product, that the mouthfeel, the oiliness
Yeah.
plays a big part.
It does. It does. So I would say that the Evan Williams single barrel, the Evan Williams bottled and bond, then the Old Granddad, then the Elijah Craig, and then the Very Old Barton.
Yep.
But again, the gaps are very small.
Right.
These are all solid. I'll drink the Very Old Barton all day long as a
Yeah.
pour. It's a nice little pour.
And if you buy it for $12 and you don't like it, and you
Give it to your friends.
give it to your friends,
Mix it with Coke.
That too. I always like to have a few bottles like this. So when because like I said, we have friends that come over that they see the whiskey there and they go, "Oh, you like bourbon?" And I go, "Yeah, but
Yeah.
do you? What
Right.
do you, tell me a little something about what you know about bourbon. And if you can't answer,
You know,
go over there. Stay away from over there."
yeah,
the Caribou Crossing, I was able to get this. My cousin has a couple of connections up in Canada, but he was joking with me that I said, they come in a box of 3. Okay, so I was able to get 2, and he kept 1, and he started kind of joking with. Well, maybe he was joking. I don't know. Kyle, my cousin, he may be joking. I don't know if you are, but he said, "Oh, can't wait to taste this with Coke Zero." I said, "Really?"
He bought it. I mean,
You do
That's
what
right.
you want, but
I have my thoughts. I'll keep them to myself. Since he bought it, he paid for it.
so cousin Kyle, only maybe and my cousin Kyle, by the way, he's another great contributor that comes to the show. He's
Pretty funny guy.
a pretty funny guy. He Mike Scott, yeah.
I can't wait to get Dave. I can't wait. I'm hoping by the next time we do an episode that you can come in and go, "Okay, I've watched
watch a couple episodes.
Nah, a couple seasons."
Oh, seasons.
Yeah. I want to get you that far. And I will tell you that each season is probably 22, 23 episodes, something like that.
Holy cow!
Yeah. But again, 22-minute episodes.
Yeah, 30
So in an
minutes.
hour, you can watch almost 3.
It's like watching the ranch.
Yeah.
Quick hits.
I'm going to tell you, the more this Elijah Craig is in the glass and you kind of mix it around,
Yep.
ethanol, it changes a little
It
bit.
does.
Yep.
Not that the whiskey's changing, but, it just kind of, I know whiskey doesn't change, but the ethanol is off of it, and you can start getting more of the characteristic of the bourbon on your nose and stuff. And to me now, it's a little more pleasing to me.
One more quick thing. If my cousin Kyle's listening, you still owe me a top from a Blanton's.
If he's listening, I mean, if he knows
I'm
you've
gonna
been
make
on
sure
the
he
show,
listens. I
yeah,
gotta make sure he
come
listens,
on.
But he owes me a top. Blanton's top.
So I do like this Elijah Craig.
Well, you helped pick it, so
Yeah.
I would hope so.
Yep,
Hey,
yep.
very good pick there, Rob.
You got it.
I like that.
94 proof. We'll need to do, I've got the Dandy pick. I've got the Longhorn pick.
Same.
I've got one other pick and then a regular. We need to do a,
Yeah, because that was going to be my suggestion for this show before everything morphed
Yeah.
into what it was to bring an original expression of Elijah Craig
and then some store picks.
and then some store picks to go along, because 2 weeks ago at home by myself, well, with my family, I did by myself a tasting of an original expression, Elijah Craig. I've got the Longhorn pick as well. I've got the latest Dandy, the Butcher
Yep, I got that one.
pick, and I had one other from Memorial Fine Wine and Spirits. And also I had another, so 4. I had another one from Rice Fine Wine and
Oh, wow,
Spirits.
okay.
And
Sounds like you like Heaven Hill.
I
Oh,
a
and
little
Elijah
bit,
Craig.
a little bit. I don't know if I've said that yet, but I am a fan, and it was really amazing how different. Because I always wondered, okay,
Yeah.
come on, how different are these?
It's like
But from what I've heard is that the master distillers at each will pull barrels that don't fit into their normal profile, and those are the ones that are done, that are in the barrel pick program, because they don't fit the normal.
Makes sense. You want to distinguish.
Right.
between the two.
Try to be as consistent as
Right,
possible.
you want the
with what you put in the
consistency.
bottle.
Right. So if you find one, nope, this doesn't meet the flavor profile.
Doesn't mean it's not good.
Right, but that goes into your barrel
Yeah.
pick program where you have people come in and
But I think some people think, well, if it doesn't fit, it wasn't good. No,
Right.
It doesn't
No.
necessarily mean that.
no.
They could be like, damn, this is good. It just doesn't fall in line with what we're trying to do with this particular line of product.
Right, and the most interesting thing I've seen lately is Aaron at Smoke Wagon in Las Vegas, that he gets MGP juice and ages it, and he tastes through everything live, talking about the different flavor profiles, and sometimes he will absolutely wrinkle up his nose and say, nope, this is going into a blend. So, but
I've never had a smoke wagon. Have you?
yeah.
You have.
I've got the Desert Jewel, which is,
Skin that smoke wagon.
yeah, which, and I think that's where that came from.
It's one I want to try. I want to get a bottle of that.
Yep.
I've never.
I've got the Desert Jewel, and I've got the uncut, unfiltered.
Now he puts this there in Vegas, and
Yep, he is in Vegas, so
that's a hot, dry climate.
Yes.
Not a lot of humidity.
yep. So his
Cool
wheelhouse.
nights.
Yep, cool
yeah,
nights.
but-
It's desert.
Well, but the humidity is just low, right?
But
Yep.
his wheelhouse is 8-year to 12-year, and a couple 12-year barrels that he has in his possession that he is sampling from are mostly gone. That the Angel's share
Really?
has evaporated, and he's out of a 53-gallon barrel. He talks sometimes about having less than 15 gallons of
Wow.
bourbon left in the barrel.
I'm not surprised.
Yep. So,
All right, our last one.
all right, we on to Wild Turkey 101, huh?
Wild Turkey 101, which is one of my favorites. 750 is going to cost you, what, 17, 18 bucks?
Yep.
Still
And you can
price competitive.
Oh, yeah. It's
you can
really
get it
solid
on
price.
sale when Total Wine or Specs does their
Yes.
their sale. You can get it for close to $15. All right, here we go. And it's got the convenient
No, it's got the
plastic control pour in there.
control pour.
For the bar, because it's a liter.
Yep.
They do those for the bars, right?
Yep.
I have a 175 Eagle Rare that I need to open because I've noticed that the neck is getting lower. There's no more bourbon in the neck anymore on that 175 Eagle Rare.
So it tells me that
The
there's
cork.
air getting. Yeah.
Yeah, you got a cork problem.
Yeah, you do.
It's leaking.
Yeah, because
You need
because
to get that
being
open.
because
Yeah, it's time to
being
open
wine
up.
guys, Rob and I, the large format bottles of wine always command a much greater price than the 750s, and not just volume wise, because the surface area in the bottle is greater.
Yep.
It allows the wine to do more within that bottle.
Dave, you're very good at that swirling there, man.
I've had a little practice with wine.
You're making air bubbles and stuff. Look at that. If I did that, it'd be all over Rob's table area. His wife would get after me. So.
You would never do that. I could never picture you spilling bourbon all over the table.
That's not good.
Could never see that happen, Joby. You think everybody picked up that Joby spilled bourbon all over the table?
No.
No.
What does bourbon do on tables? Like
Table like this takes the finish off, and
so
wife's
if
a
you ever
big
need to
fan of
strip
that.
a table, just pour some cheap bourbon on it.
That's right.
That's right. Those are memories, honey. Memories.
There's another thing you can do with a bottle of bourbon you don't like. Strip some
Strip furniture.
Doors or something.
That's right.
Well, Rob, what do you smell originally?
And what's interesting is I don't get as much on the nose with this
Yeah,
as I did with others.
So that's why I'm asking. It doesn't pop out at me.
No.
Yeah.
And when starting with this on certain nights, I'm like, wow, that's got a great nose. But after tasting through what we've just tasted through,
You think we have any palate fatigue?
no,
You just-
couldn't. After seven bottles,
You just threw bourbon.
See, I'm not the only one.
I'm glad there's a Rob's looking at me all crazy, and I'm thinking, what's he looking at?
Like, hey, Joby, what are you doing?
Not me this time.
It's fine. It's fine. That's why I put the tablecloth on this episode.
So Joby wouldn't spill on it.
I knew who was coming.
That's what she said.
I can't wait for you to watch that, and you're going to be saying that all the time now.
Yeah, YouTube has a whole thing on. That's what she said.
Oh, yeah. I still like it on the nose. I get that.
It's very
Right.
subdued, though. You know, compared to the other ones. That's just me, but the taste.
I'm definitely getting the wood, the vanilla, and the brown sugar, and
You know, I have like a little woody.
I get a little of that fruit,
type
a little cherry.
taste.
Definitely get some cherry.
Yep,
But,
dark
but
fruit.
it's solid. I mean,
Absolutely.
the nose isn't as pronounced after having, like the Evan Williams, even the very old Barton.
Right.
But where this is solid is on the palate and the finish.
Yep.
I mean, I
and
like-
that's what I was going to say. The finish is extremely long
Yes, it
Yep.
is.
for
This is.
for this level of bourbon.
This is solid.
You know, back in the day, they should have maybe named this Thunder Chicken.
Oh man, that's good.
Wild Turkey. So from our old hunting days, from Michael Waddell,
Yep.
we'll go get us a Thunder Chicken. You
So
ever
we're-
heard that term, Rob?
I've not heard the term thunder chicken.
Oh,
Because turkeys make so much noise when they fly.
Oh,
It's like thunder.
And instead of a
Are
turkey,
you out
we're
in the
gonna call it a
wild
chicken.
hunting them?
Yeah.
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 Dave, how many turkeys have you shot?
3.
That's it?
That's it.
I've turkey hunt, but I've never called them a thunder chicken.
Yeah, that's an old hunting term.
Now, did you call them with a double D under the tongue, or did you call them with a
Box.
little wood box?
Box call. Yep.
I would do the old under the tongue double D.
Diaphragm.
Yeah.
Yep. And one of them, when we hunted in South Texas, the only thing you could kill were gobblers
Oh, yeah.
and bearded hens. And I said, there is no such thing as a bearded
I
hen.
told him, I said, there's bearded hens out here where I've seen them.
I was just getting ready to ask. That's called a gobbler.
But it's a hen that
Has a beard.
it's basically a transgender hen. Transgender.
Not seen that.
Yeah. And they have a beard growing out of their chest just like a gobbler, but they are female.
Really?
And I was sitting in my stand one day, and a line of hens comes running up the road, and I'll be damned if the lead one wasn't a bearded hen.
Is that right?
Yep.
Rob, I hope you don't lose any listeners about hunting here.
That's right. Talking about transgender.
That's all right.
And I laid her out,
That's what she said.
and
What
it was very interesting.
yeah, there's so much, actually in the United States for the turkey, for the wild turkey, there's a Wild Turkey Federation, all types of hunting and conservation for them. But, they were almost extinct because they got overhunted for many years.
Yeah.
So it's interesting when you see the wild turkey bourbon. I'm curious to see if I go read about the research on them.
It's like the Master's Keep has been overhunted. Rob has all of it at his house.
I saw that box over here.
Box?
Boxes.
But it's just interesting, with wild turkey and bourbon whiskey being around for a long time.
I wonder how they came up with that name.
Yeah,
I've never done a history on that.
I'm curious. I'm curious to research that.
Has anybody seen the documentary Neat?
Oh yeah,
I
love
have-
that show.
I have not watched
You
it.
haven't seen it?
No, and
have
I've
you seen
heard-
it?
No.
It's on
Hulu.
It's on Hulu, and it's called Neat: The Story of Bourbon. Or
Yep. I'm
And-
forgetting who the guy is who not narrates it, but he's an actor who is a big part of the show because he's sitting in a chair and they're asking questions about it. He's not a huge bourbon guy, but he's gotten into bourbon, just kind of talking about, like an everyday Joe would be talking about bourbon.
Right,
But
but-
they go from all over Buffalo Trace.
But the most profound portion during the film, and I've seen it played several times in different clips, is you hear people talking about hoarding their bottles and holding them for special occasions. No, I'm not going to open that. No, I'm not going to finish it. And during that documentary, one of the guys that they're talking to,
from Buffalo Trace,
Is
his
it-
dad. That's
yes,
the black gentleman. I'm trying to remember his
he's
name.
a master distiller.
Yep.
And
I don't think he's a distiller, but he's like a
brand ambassador.
yeah, kinda like Al Young
Somebody
was
gifted
with-
him a bottle of
Pappy.
Van Winkle, and he decided to share it with his brother and his father.
Well, he wasn't going to share it. He said we need to save it.
Well, he shared it, one pour each, and he told his dad, "I want to save the rest of it
Okay,
for
that's
the
what it was.
next occasion." And his father told him, "Son,
What are you saving it for?
what are you saving it for? We could be gone tomorrow."
What's better than the three of us sitting
Right.
here
They
right
never
now?
promised, right?
Right. So they finished the bottle of Pappy Van Winkle, and within the next 9 months, his brother and his father were both dead.
Wow.
So he got to share a full bottle of Pappy Van Winkle with his father and his brother, and
My wife and my wife leads this, so I give her all the credit. But she's like, drink it. We got to drink it. There
Right.
is no save it for when. When's ever special enough?
right.
Kind of
Yeah.
like the old Rocky movie with Apollo Creed told Rocky, there is no tomorrow.
There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.
And I'd been holding on to a bottle of Plump Jack Reserve.
Ah,
I'd had it for 20 years, and kept telling my wife, we'll drink it on a special occasion. So I just happened into a dinner party.
Where was that at?
I think it was at Rob Clark's house. I came to pick up 2 glasses from Daryl Bowman, and I happened into a dinner party. I went home, I got the bottle of the Plump Jack and drank it, and it was
It was the best bottle of the night. I mean, we had some good bottles
it
that
was
night. We
outstanding.
ended up having 10 bottles of wine at that dinner.
Yep.
I mean, there was 10 of us there, so it wasn't
Right.
like we were all. But getting a little taste of that.
But
man,
I couldn't have been more happy to open that bottle
Well, you
in
share
that setting.
They'd enjoy it, right?
Right, with people that could appreciate it and understand, and
It was a
so
great bottle.
Now, Dave,
So,
changing a little that Wild Turkey 101 there. I was looking at the label. I see that number 4 because it stands out like a number 4 shot
Right.
on a shotgun shell. But
Yeah.
to me, what does that mean?
it says that's the barrel char. So they
Okay.
so
see?
the number 4 barrel
See, I brought that
char.
up in the last podcast.
Okay, but
the
that-
char has
that makes you ask the question, is all 101 Wild Turkey char number 4, or do they put that on there
a good question.
to let you know that this one is, but you might find a 3 or a 2?
Right.
See,
That's
I've
interesting.
been curious because I keep hearing about different chars, and I'm just wondering how much of an effect those chars have on the taste.
Now, I do want to get back to the Plump Jack, and you
Oh,
brought
sorry.
that great. No.
Didn't mean to
just-
hijack you there.
No, you didn't hijack at all. I just want to finish up on something because I think it's important, Joby, that Dave brought that fantastic bottle of wine,
What a
and
great guy.
we all enjoyed it.
What a great guy he is.
And we have another dinner coming up,
Oh,
and I'm just, I don't want to say the bar's high, but the bar's pretty freaking high. I mean, I'm just curious as to
I think I
what's-
may have started at the bottom there, though.
yeah.
That's the bottom?
We'll see.
Wow.
All I know, here's my wine knowledge
If
cap.
you're listening, Daryl,
Oh my lord.
You better get it up quick, Rob.
That's what she said.
It was Joby last time. This time it's me.
I think it has to do with that chair right there.
we'll be right back. All right, we're back, and I've concluded that
That chair over there is not good. I mean,
either that chair or you two just don't like my table. You're telling me to
we want
change
to get
it.
you in trouble with your wife.
We're trying to add character.
We'll see how that goes. I hope I'm not
So
too badly bruised after.
final on the 101, like flavors and stuff. Like I said, I haven't drank 101 in a while, and I was a little shocked. It was
To me,
it was
101
good.
is one of the value-wise. Again, the 3 criteria, and I've just come up with that today. The 3 criteria, right? Quality, value, and availability. To me, this is one of the best ones you can get. I mean, there's just not a whole lot better than it.
I would agree.
I act like I'm the first one that ever come up with that, and I know I'm not. Joby said he's leaving that here.
That's very nice of him.
It was very nice. He said
There
he
has
said
to be a
for-
trade for that, I think. Though.
He said, for spilling a glass of bourbon on your table, I'm going to leave this bottle for you. And I went, wow, that's cool, Joby.
As long as I get the top.
You know I'm kidding.
Just find it interesting that
See that? You
The
see
condensation?
condensation on it? Yeah.
Why is that, you think?
I've only had one other bottle do that. And it's a bottle of Slaughterhouse from California.
Really?
So back to his pump jack.
Yeah.
Elaborate a little bit. I'm oblivious to what's so special about pump jack.
Well, Plump Jack is a really
Is it
good
pump
wine.
or plump?
Plump,
Plump.
is a really good wine. And he brought a 2001,
Whoa.
which is, and that's got to be,
I know that being old is.
well, in
For a
Napa,
California.
that's, yeah,
It's like
in
a
Napa, that's
fine
old.
wine.
That could have been, we could have opened that and been like, not good.
Tastes like vinegar.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. A couple months ago, we opened a 2002 Insignia. And you poured it, and you're on the nose, and you're going, this is fantastic. And you take a drink and go, that's crap.
Yeah.
So,
Is it
it's
because
a
it was
$300 bottle of
store?
wine, you just throw it away. It's too old. It's past
Too
its
old.
prime.
Yeah.
Remember we talked last
Yeah.
time that wine's still living in the bottle,
Yep.
and it's going to reach its peak, and then it's going to start to deteriorate.
Yeah.
And
Yep. Just like those monster bucks, they reach a point in their antler growth where
it.
they have peaked.
They're prime.
And then it goes down from there.
yep. But yeah, so I was a little going, because I'd had
Oh,
that 2002.
I was worried.
I was going, this could be fantastic, or this could be,
But
thanks for trying, Dave.
But as soon as Daryl poured the first glass and I put my nose in it, it was like, this
Yeah.
is going to be outstanding.
Well, and for me, I was like,
Could
off
be.
the same start as the Insignia, great
Right.
nose. But once I tasted, I went, ding, 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 this is a winner.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Someone has to top that, huh?
Somebody does.
And you saw what we're having for dinner on Saturday.
Leg of lamb.
A leg of lamb.
So, yeah, but I
Very
had
nice.
I had Joby over one night and took him to the wine refrigerator, and I said, I opened it, and he was completely naive to
Yeah.
wine. So, got to qualify that he was completely naive, and I opened the door, and I said, and you've got 12 rolling racks like yours, and I said, okay, pick any bottle you want out of this refrigerator.
Yeah.
And I'm watching him pull and look and pull.
And he's just looking for labels, something that catches his eye.
Something that
'cause he
catches
has
his
no-
eye.
Oh,
Yeah.
catch my eye,
Yeah, and that's exactly right. Something that catches his eye. And so he's pulling out several shelves, and he's like, well, you seem to have a lot of this one, so let's just open one of those. and it just happened to be one of the wine clubs that I was in at the time, or winery direct. I mean, direct from a vineyard in Napa.
I remember Dave's eyes kind of got a little big.
Yeah,
There's a lot of those because I don't drink them, Joey.
Yeah, and I was like, well, that's good for an everyday drinker, but
Well, what was it?
it is one of my favorite vineyards in Calistoga in the north part of the valley.
Yeah, the most north part of the
Yep,
valley.
almost Sonoma. So it was from Laura Zatilla, and it was
Okay.
so it's in right across the street is Vincent Arroyo,
Okay.
and a couple others that are our favorites. August Briggs, sorry,
I can't believe you remember this.
but now the husband and wife have remarried for the second time.
Okay.
Married, divorced, remarried, and now it's called Laura Michael. So, but it's
So he got to put his name on it.
correct. It used to just be called Zatilla, and I've got a vertical of quite a few years of
Really?
her cabs, of her estate cabs. So, but
Not heard of her. I mean, there's so many little wineries
but
in there.
I will. That was one of the bottles that I was going to bring Saturday night.
Okay.
I
Is-
do remember it was pretty good.
But it's outstanding.
As
Cab.
And for
It's a
me,
cab,
pretty good.
yes.
Is like drinking it and not going making a
Yeah, like
sour
screwed
face or
up
something
face, a
like
sour
that.
beer, bit of beer face.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, okay. This is pretty good.
but there were things in there that
I
are-
think he was hoping that I didn't pick certain ones.
No, I was hoping that he would pick certain ones.
It's like
Yeah.
that old
Be-
Flash Gordon movie where you're putting your hand in that stump and hoping that you don't get stung.
Yeah, yeah, but it
you
was
say old Flash Gordon, I'm thinking catfishing, when you're reaching down.
Oh,
Right.
Well, yeah, there you go.
yeah.
That'll be fun Saturday because, as you saw when you came over here for that one, it's bringing a bunch of bottles of bourbon and then everybody bringing a couple bottles of wine. And it
So
ends up
who's
being-
making the lamb?
Daryl.
Oh, very nice.
Yep. So now I've got to navigate home from the Heights.
We should almost all ride together from here to there.
After a night of
Or share an Uber.
consumption.
I don't know if I'm going to Uber or drive. You saw his message about parking?
Yeah, that was going to be difficult, but for me,
Do they provide like music or anything like that, like entertainment, or it's just
yeah, it's just
entertainment?
it's like coming over here.
Somebody's
Okay.
house. Yeah.
Daryl just
Moved there.
moved from Mount Bellevue to the Heights,
Oh,
so
well, that's quite a change.
yep, yep. So,
Mount Bellevue.
but for me, that's about a $60 Uber ride. one way.
Yeah, it is. So I'll probably drive.
Yeah.
So what final thoughts on the 101 did you, as far as what you smell or taste?
That's what she said.
Like I said, I get a lot of the vanilla and the brown sugar and all of that. I get the red cherry, the black cherry, the dark fruit. I like the nose.
Mm-hmm.
Because you swirl it a lot. So
Yeah, that's a wine. That's a wine thing too. But it does give some of that alcohol off of it. And I do like. I should have gave you this glass, Dave, because you can swirl and it won't spill out to you.
It won't fly
So,
out the top.
Next time
Yeah.
you come over, I know I need to buy more of these for certain drinkers.
Next
I'm figuring
time
out who
I'm-
they are.
We need the sippy cup.
Yeah. Next time I'm going to use a mason jar with the lid.
The next show is going to be wine. It won't eat through the varnish.
In a straw.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was a good show. Appreciate you guys coming. I think reviewing that we had 6 quality bourbons that are $30 or less.
Bottle heroes, right?
Yeah, I would call them shelf heroes in general. Not all they're not all specifically on the bottom shelf. I think depending on what liquor store you go to, they put them in different spots. But very old Barton, the Evan Williams 100 proof bottled in bond, the old Granddad 114, the Evan Williams single barrel, which is fantastic, Elijah Craig, and then we had the Wild Turkey 101. So, again, just if you're looking for something that's just a inexpensive quality bourbon, to me you can't go wrong with any of these. And if it's somebody looking to get into bourbon and have some bourbons on their bar when people come over and you entertain.
And don't want to break the bank.
Don't want to break the bank to get started, because we all end up chasing good stuff. It's just going to happen. But to get started, these are 6 quality bourbons. And what, Dave, you said less than $100 for all these?
For all of them.
You're talking.
For all of them.
We're talking 13, 13, 18, 18, so 36 and 26, 62 plus 30 and 30. Yeah, you're right at $100 for all 6 of
I
these.
guess I qualify them like in baseball, good contact hitter.
That's right.
Gonna make contact. You're not gonna strike out.
Yeah, these are great. So, fun show, man. Fun to go through. A lot of times we always want to do something that we think is unique or different, and it was fun just to do something that we are everyday drinkers that can be,
No, it was fun because it was a lot of different tastes. Like different little profiles on what you get based, and then you're looking at the bottles here, like the price wise. I'm not looking at it going, holy smokes, on secondary. You can make
That's
a lot
my
of
problem.
money,
You don't even see these on secondary. Wait, you see this one on secondary?
Well, yeah.
You do?
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
The old, very
Oh
old
yeah.
one. You
Oh
see
yeah.
that?
Oh yeah.
No way.
Yes, sir.
Well, pretty interesting.
About $105 is what I came up with.
Dave, why do you count?
I need my toes also. Yep.
Well, thanks for having us, Rod. It was fun as always, and I actually learned a little bit something and stuff like the old Granddad I haven't tasted before. So
Yeah, there were 3 of them I hadn't tasted, and 2 of them that I hadn't tasted. Both the Evan Williams products.
keep the Evan
2 of my
Williams single
favorites.
barrel down.
Yeah, those are 2 of my favorites. Those are
Don't talk about
quality.
that one too much.
Bottle and Bond's fantastic, but if you can find that Evan Williams single barrel, definitely recommend going and getting it. That's a fantastic bottle. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
Thank you to everyone who were listening to this episode of Food, Wine, and Whiskey in Your Own Backyard. And until our next episode, enjoy your next pour.